की व्यवस्था करवाकर आप पुण्य के भागी बन सकते हैं। परम पूज्य महाराज जी के द्वारा दिखाए गए सेवा संस्थान के माध्यम से जुड़े और सेवा सत सेवा गोविंद प्रकार की दान राशि भेजना चाहते हैं तो फिर टीवी स्क्रीन पर हमारे अकाउंट नंबर तथा गूगल पे पेटीएम नंबर पर आप अपनी दान सहयोग की राशि भेज सकते हैं। पूज्य महाराज की आगामी कथाओं से जुड़ने के लिए आप श्री फेसबुक पेज अभिनंदन जी वृंदावन तथा यूट्यूब चैनल अभिनंदन जी वृंदावन को लाइक शेयर और कमेंट करना न भूलें ताकि आगामी कथाओं की आपको पूर्ण जानकारी प्राप्त हो जाए। साथ ही इस वैशाख माह के पावन अवसर पर इसी ललिता आश्रम हरिद्वार में गंगा तट पर भगवान शिव का रुद्राभिषेक भी चल रहा है। आप घर में भी इस रुद्राभिषेक में भाग ले सकते हैं अपनी सहयोग राशि देकर और एक बिना कभी भगवान को चढ़ा दिया तो समझो वैशाख माह में पावन रुद्राभिषेक सेवा हेतु दान राशि भेजती हो तो अपने घर में प्रसादी हेतु तो फिर आप श्री टीवी स्क्रीन पर चल रहे नंबरों पर संपर्क करें हमारे संस्थान पर। साथ ही आप आ सकते हैं ऐसे समय आपका पालन करें आपके जीवन की सुरक्षा और आपके लिए बेहतर जीवन ये प्रकल्प आपके साथ है। आप सभी ने दो मैदान भी देखा गुरुनानक देव जी के सभी विपत्ति सब पे आती इसलिए जब आत्मदेव जी पर लाठियां बरसाई उनके अपने बेटे ने तब गौकर्ण जी समझा रहे हैं पिताजी क्यों रो रहे हैं विपत्तियों के कारण तो विपत्तियां सब पर आई हैं।
So 2021.
हेलो हाँ भाई तेरी आवाज़ ना कट कट के आ रही है यार सॉरी समझ नहीं आ रहा और उसके मीडिया वगैरह में जैसे भी आएंगे उसमें से आइसोलेट करने हैं ना कभी तो तेरी वो हवा वगैरह की आवाज़ आ रही थी ठीक है ओए किस जगह रहता है तू ऐसे मतलब वहीं पे पास में ही रहता है कैसे पहाड़ वहाड़ है वहाँ पर अच्छा चलो ठीक है यार कोरोना के बाद मिलते हैं भाई कोरोना के बाद ठीक है
टीवी बंद कर दो मम्मी। मम्मी टीवी बंद कर दो। हेलो मीटिंग भी ज्वाइन करना है। हेलो ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है। बस करूँ गुस्सा में।
मैं सोची कि दिमाग की फायदे कर लेना।
थोड़ा मम्मी क्या क्या करते तुम?
अरे तुम नहीं जानते
एट साइड हो इकन किरकिरा ना
कोई नहीं है।
कोई हो ना हो क्या मतलब ही दिया।
पटियाला से आ रही थी।
ठीक है अच्छा
खट लगती है पैंट की तरफ। एक मिनट ना एक मिठाई लगी पटियाला
सर हम लोग की एक क्लास है 8 बजे तक, 8 बजे तक क्लास है सर हम लोग की, तो मैं शायद यहीं पे रुकूंगा। जी सर, वो सर सोसाइटल प्रोजेक्ट कुछ करके कोर्स है हमारा, लास्ट कोर्स है पीएचडी का, तो ये फाइनल ईयर मतलब उसमें करना होता है 3rd ईयर में, तो ये लेवल 300 400 के बाद आता है ये, उसी के लेक्चर है, पता नहीं क्या है, 2.5 घंटे की क्लास जूम पर है। इसमें मतलब सर जैसे ना एक देखा था मैंने, तो कोई फार्मर था, उसने बुलेट से वो बना लिया, ट्रैक्टर टाइप बना लिया। एक फार्मर था, उसके ना गांव में बाढ़ आ गई, फार्मर नहीं था मतलब बंदा था कोई, तो उसने क्या किया, साइकिल में ना ऐसे वो लगा दिए, पंख से लगा दिए, फ्लैप से, और साइड में ना टिन के वो लगा दिए बॉक्स खाली, तो वो फ्लोट करेंगे, तो जब वो साइकिल चला रहा है तो वो डूबेगी भी नहीं, स्टेबल रहेगी और आगे जाएगी। तो उसने अपनी वो बना ली नदी क्रॉस करने के लिए, इस तरह से आइडियाज। जी सर, हाँ सर ठीक है। अरे भाई पढ़ने दो यार।
गड़बड़ कर देता। आवाज बंद कर दो।
आवाज बंद कर दो। सवा 2 घंटे आराम से खगड़िया के सोइयो। आपको पता नहीं कोई हायर एजुकेशन वाला का फोन आया था और मुझसे कह रहा था कि बैचलर्स कर रखी है। मैंने कहा हाँ कर रखी है। आप कौन बोल रहे हो? मैंने कहा बस बोल रहा हूँ। तो मैंने कहा वो जब उठेगी तब कॉल बैक कर लीजिए।
Friends, good evening. Kindly keep your mic muted. Only when you have to intervene, kindly unmute so that won't disturb others.
उसमें कुछ पूछ कहाँ रहा है?
अरे मेरा तो जो दुनिया से
लिंक पे क्लिक किया तो डायरेक्ट खुल गया, कुछ पूछा नहीं उसने। हाँ
हाँ रखा। हाँ ज्वाइन तो कर रहा है लेकिन वो
Hello, Professor Anil Gupta. Good evening.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Namaskar.
We have still some time, maybe 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. So, Ashwini, I'll just take 1 minute or 30 seconds.
Sure. No, you should take 2 minutes. भाई क्या दिक्कत है? टाइम लीजिए और थोड़ा कंटेक्स्ट बनेगा, उससे बात बनेगी.
Hello, yes sir.
So, Dr. Anamika is joined.
She will join. She is in a meeting. She will just join at 5:30.
Okay, I just look. We can just introduce ourselves to her.
Anamika, have you joined? She will join.
Hello.
How to post?
In 190. Okay. So it's on create. If you accept the invitation, no, first, then you will get live of
join out.
on your Facebook page.
Join and mute.
म्यूट पे क्लिक करेंगे तो अनम्यूट होगा, वो कर रहे हैं क्या? हाँ
अब आई है आवाज. आ रही है. അഞ്ചരയ്ക്ക് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തു.
ആണല്ലോ, സ്പീക്കർ ആയില്ല, അതാണ് ഞാൻ
ഇത് കേൾക്കുന്നില്ലോ നമ്മുടെ स्वामी तो गूगल पे यूज करो ना, बहुत अच्छा होता है। যেমন ইচ্ছা নিলি, ভালো লিখে নিবি, বাস দেখবি বেশি লিখবি না। अरे उस दिन तो
Dr. Sangwan, it's 5:30 now, so maybe we should. Mute hand, Dr. Sangwan, you're mute. You have to unmute. And kindly mute yourself, all of you.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah. So, Professor Anil Gupta, can we start?
Yes, we should start. Anamika is also joined. So we both are here. Just 1 minute. I think Sudeshna, can you mute yourself? Karvandra, can you mute? Jeet, you can mute. Ashutosh, please mute. Deepak, please mute. Sudeshna, please mute.
At the outset, I extend a very warm welcome to Professor Anil Gupta, Academic Professor of ACSIR, and his co-faculty, Dr. Anamika, to this event of beginning of a very special course module related to grassroots innovations. My heartiest welcome to both of our esteemed faculty for this program. Dear students, it's a very special privilege for ACSR students, and also it's a special case of a course in ACSIR, what we call as a societal program, understanding and analysis of societal needs and societal problems. Before you can actually go into the depth of these things, what is important is you are to analyze the intellect, the power of innovation that exists in each corner with each individual in the country, and this is what is called as the grassroots innovations, and we have the not only the Indian but the global leaders of grassroots innovations, Professor Anil Gupta. Many special things about this course. Probably this will be the largest cohort of a class that can happen. Probably we have around close to 1,000 students or 900 students joining. This is one specialty, because besides the very first specialty of being a very innovative and a novel course, which has an impact not only in your today's learning course, but in your whole of the rest of your life. And second specialty is that this is probably the longest class also. You can have something like 2 hours. And these 2 hours, I'm sure you will feel that it should have been 3 hours. With each lecture, I'm sure you will realize that we should have heard him earlier. And this is what the beauty of his teaching. I wish you a very successful learning, a great your opportunity to express yourself freely, because as the course itself signifies, and as the same is the motto of the speakers and the faculty of this course. And with these words, I request Professor Anil Gupta and faculty to kindly go ahead with this program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sangwan. I and my colleague, Dr. Anamika, both of us are very privileged to be with you all. Friends, this is not very often that we have a class with as diverse backgrounds of technology and science as we have today, which also means there's a great opportunity for us to look at the world from multidisciplinary perspective. And hopefully, we will succeed in persuading you to look at the people's knowledge system. Kindly mute yourself. I am requesting you, kindly mute Adib, David. Kindly mute yourself, because then it disturbs and distracts. And it will be difficult for you to follow what I'm saying if all of us. Jeevan, you wanted to say something? Jeevan, you have raised your hand.
No, sir.
Okay, it doesn't matter. So friends, I don't mind if you intervene or interrupt me or us at any stage. That is perfectly fine. You can stop and you can raise your hand. There's a hand raise button, which you can press, and I will know then that you want to say something, and I will give you the chance to speak. This course essentially is trying to build a bridge between what you do in the lab, in your workshop, in your science experiments, technology development processes, and what people do when they do experiments in their life, in their farms, in their workshops, in their... Yes, Sarla, did you want to raise something?
Yes, sir. I want to ask one question. Whether this course is actually I did my CSIR 800 in last year. So this course is applicable on me or not? This is the question.
Anybody and everybody who is curious about the creative potential of our country, how people solve problems creatively, and if we in our profession wish to join hands with them, then not only their creativity will be augmented, our own creativity will also be augmented. And I'll start with a few examples that will follow. So I would say that no matter at what stage of your research you are, if you are curious about how people solve problems on their own without any formal training, without any formal education, then I think this course is for you. It is entirely up to you.
If I going to attend your lecture, it's okay. I want to attend your lecture. But it is a compulsion for me to again repeat the coursework of CSIR 800 if I attend this lecture. This is my query.
I can't answer that question. That question would be answered by Dr. Sangwan. I would only say...
Sarna, I think please don't go into those details. It's a learning course. All other things you can interact with ACSI directly. I think those is not the right platform to have this discussion with the faculty. This you take up separately issue with that. We'll discuss that. Right now it's a lecture. Let us have it as smoothly as it goes. If anybody has a question related to lecture, they should only come up here and nothing else.
Sir. Okay, sir. This is the actually confusion among people or students. So that's why I'm asking this question here.
Well, I would say it doesn't matter. Kindly mute your mic, Vani. Kindly mute your mic.
Zoom
G5, 2021, mute yourself.
Unmuted microphones.
Unmuted microphones.
Anamika, can we mute everybody and then we unmute ourselves and we start? Is that better? Because otherwise this disturbance will remain. How do we solve this problem? Should we mute everybody? Is it possible? Kindly mute yourself, I request. So what I'm trying to say is that this course will provide you answers to 3 or 4 key questions. First, do creative ideas occur only to the trained mind? Can we learn from the lab attendant? Can we learn from service provider? Can we learn from a maid at our home? Can we learn from a gardener? I'll give you examples where you will realize that there is a huge scope of learning from people. Kailash, please switch off your mic, Kailash. I will have to do that, but if Anamika, can you do that? Please help. Megha, can you switch off everybody who's on at this moment? Kindly do that. So it will save my time.
Sir, make me
I will make you co-host, yes. Just 1 second, so that you can help me to do that. Just speak up your mic, your name will come up. Just Megha, can you speak for a minute?
Megha.
So where is... Just 1 second. Anamika, can you make her co-host?
Sir?
Can you make Megha co-host so she can switch off other people's mics are on?
From my account only. Megha has done from my account only. Let me...
You have to make her co-host, then she can switch off the mics of everybody who's on. That's what I wanted. Yeah, I will make it. I'll make you co-host now. So Megha, you are co-host now. You are co-host now. So kindly switch off everybody whose mic is on. So kindly switch. Rupa has raised a very interesting.
Sir, now please unmute yourself. I've done it, but now you have to unmute yourself.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So I'm very happy that everybody is muted. Rupa, your question was that this is a defect in Zoom. Actually, it was a defect in my administration. I mean, I did not realize that there was a button by which I could have muted everybody. Anamika has done that. So problem has been solved, but you are very right. You identified an unmet need, which was this disturbance that you were having. And you said you will write to them. And that is what we need to do. When there is a problem, we often learn to live with it. And what we are trying to do in this course is to become impatient with inertia. To become impatient with inertia, we would like to ask questions about problems which have been around us and we have not really bothered to address them for sometime for millennia, sometime for decades. And we will look at that in the class on inertia. So it's very important. Review, please. So it's very important that we realize what we're trying to do in this course. So first is to recognize that creative ideas can come from anybody, from to anyone, and therefore we develop respect for the knowledge providers in the informal sector. We also want to look
excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
sir,
please.
Can we record this?
Yes, we can. I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we will record it. So first purpose of the course is to recognize and respect and understand that it is possible for creative ideas to come from anybody. I will show you a small animation just in a few minutes, which will demonstrate to you the way around the world, it's not just in India, around the world, people have realized that different ideas evolve slowly in hunches. And therefore, it's an important purpose of building bridges, building linkages. That's what Honeybee Network does, cross-pollination of ideas, and each idea becomes more valuable, becomes more, our mind gets fertilized when we exchange our ideas. So that's something that we would like to pursue. We'll also look at how the policy and institutional ecosystem is developed. Many of you solve very critical problems, but these problems, when they're solved, you find that innovation is not moving fast enough. So what kind of ecosystem we need to make? How, please, there's a permission. We have already put the recording on. Prachi, we have put the recording on. So don't worry. So we would very much wish that all of you will realize that there is a possibility of changing the way we look at the scope of problem that's been unsolved. So let me try to see whether you can see this video, and I will show this here. Please tell me that if you are able to see this and hear it.
Sir, we cannot hear the audio.
Sorry?
No audio to do.
You can't hear the sound?
No. So probably you'll have to.
I'm doing it with the YouTube. I'm not doing it on the computer. Let me.
But I couldn't hear.
You couldn't hear? Okay, let me try again. Right. Let me try that. Should it be done through the advanced or? Are you able to hear now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Should I try?
Let me try. Okay, doesn't matter. Let me try once again. What I will do, I will copy the link and you could see that later because we will not bother.
Can you hear?
No, we can't. So I will put on the chat the link and then you can see this later. If you
Sir, I
wish.
can hear.
You can hear?
Yes.
Then we can play.
Again.
Huh?
You are.
So let me try if it is possible.
Sir, Pratiksha, I can hear.
I cannot hear, sir.
You cannot hear?
No,
I
sir.
can't. No, sir, we can't hear.
Okay, so
No,
then I
sir.
put the link here. Have you seen the link on the chat?
I can't hear, sir.
Yes,
No,
yes.
okay, my suggestion is,
Yes.
we were trying to solve. I put the link on the chat, so I would suggest it's just half a minute of 1 minute video. You can see that.
Yes, sir, we got the link.
You got the link, so then we will proceed with the other part of the
Yes, yes.
presentation, and we will leave it for you to see later on. The key idea that he was trying to show in that that small video is that ideas are by themselves not always convertible into product and processes. They need to be blended with somebody else's ideas. We can't build a house with a single brick. We need many bricks. Hello? Sunil, there's a problem? So what we're trying to do, therefore, is to look at how do we identify the unmet needs, how do we recognize that these needs need to be met, and also how people who are creative and innovative identify the need which we miss ourselves. So one of the first thing I would develop, what I would submit is that we all need to develop an eye for oddity. This is a picture that Anamika took a long time ago, and I've been a great fan of this because it conveys the meaning very clearly. You see all these swans, they're moving in one direction. This is the one which is moving in a different direction. And this is the one that I'm interested in because she's defying the trend. She's not following the trend that everybody else follows. You know, many times there are supervisors, pardon me for saying this, don't mind, nobody should mind it. When a student goes to the supervisor and says, look, sir, I didn't find many references on this problem. Please quiet, please quiet. Then the supervisor says, if there's no reference, then this problem may not be relevant. Whereas the fact is that if there's no reference, it is the most important problem because nobody else has seen this problem as relevant and worked on it. Kindly quiet, kindly quiet. So it's very important that we look for oddity, something different, not necessarily something better, but something different. And that helps us to look for the tails of the distribution. So if you have a distribution, then the tails of the distribution are what I'm talking about, both positive and negative tail, because that's where some exceptions might emerge, and that's where we need to look at how we can see them. Now, this is what Honeybee Network started doing 34 years ago, giving voice, visibility, and velocity. Giving voice, visibility, and velocity. So a nameless, faceless person, a student, or a farmer comes in contact with the network and gets an identity. This is what we do. All these years, we try to give voice, visibility, and velocity. All of you will become scholars and will join as scientists, senior scientists, head of the department. Some of you will be the directors of the institutions. And then you will realize that, look, in 74, when Dr. Mishilkar was DG, we signed an agreement between the Innovation Foundation and SRISTI to build partnership so that formal and informal can blend. And I'll give you many examples of that kind today. kindly switch off your mic, please. So it's very important that we see the potential for blending formal and informal knowledge system. Now, why am I referring to network time and again? Because network is very powerful. You know, a spider's web, the threads are very weak, but as a net, it can withstand the storms. It can withstand strong winds. The resilience comes from network. Future belongs to network. So it's very important that we realize that our social capital essentially emerges from the ability of cross-pollinating ideas and exchanging ideas. Those communities, those cultures, those departments, those groups of scholars have made the most progress, which have openness in sharing ideas and being grateful for the idea that others share, even orally for that matter, and build upon each other. That's a great culture of reciprocity, respect, and responsibility. Reciprocity, respect, and responsibility towards each other's ideas, and we will see them, how they evolve. Before we proceed, let me give you an example because we are on spider's web. So once there was a whitewash going on in my house, and the whitewash worker cut his hand. So before I could offer him an ointment, he went out, came back after a few minutes, and there was no blood on his finger. So I said, what did you do? There's no blood. It just stopped. Sir, we had cleaned the cobwebs, the spider's web. I went and put some of it on my finger, and it coagulated the blood. Now, those of you who are from biological sciences, look up on the net. Write a spider's web, blood coagulant, and you will find this is one of the fastest blood coagulant that we have. Nature. Now, where from I got this insight? This insight came from a whitewash worker, illiterate person, but he had developed a solution, very frugal and scientifically speaking, on the edge. We developed later on a cell line from the cells from the gland of spider because we didn't want to kill the spiders every time. And we then extracted and tried to see that it still had very good capacity to coagulate the blood. Now, this could be a very good idea, which can develop into a product. Some of you might like to develop a product out of it. And then if any income comes out of this product, if it gets commercialized, the benefits need to go to the community of whitewash people, because they are the ones who have given us this lead. They must get the credit. Their children must get the education opportunity, because their knowledge made such a useful product to come. Please switch off, please. So it's very important that we recognize the value of network. Now, let me give you another example of the network, how knowledge from different parts of the country can be leveraged, how we identify the innovation as a response to an unmet need. Please appreciate, whenever somebody innovates, why would somebody innovate? Because there's a need unmet. So in Andhra Pradesh, when they transplant tobacco, I'm not getting into the merit of tobacco, because obviously we don't want people to develop cancer because of smoking. That's not the point. But when they transplant farmers to transplant tobacco, they keep a pot of milk. And they put their hand in the pot of milk every now and then, so that if some seedlings are affected by tobacco mosaic virus, it would not diffuse to the healthy seedlings. In Gujarat, when they have foot and mouth disease in the cattle, again another viral disease, they will pour the milk on the hoof. I had a pain in my ear a long time ago, way back in 1959-60, and the landlady put her breast milk. So in 1988, there was a conference in Kottayam on plant physiology and biochemistry. Dr. Sinha had invited me because this conference was on stress physiology. And he said, look, we understand a great deal about between water and the plant, but we don't know the person behind the plant. What happens when the crop fails because of drought? Since I had done a lot of work on impoverishment in drought-prone region, I went there for a talk. And while giving my talk, I gave this example as to how knowledge in 3 different parts of the country seems to have some connection. I don't know what the connection is. Can anybody help me in finding out the connection? So one student at that time, now he's a faculty member in C at Columbia. He was a postdoc. He was a doctoral student at CCMB, one of the premier CSIR lab, Dattananda. He came to me at tea time and said, Professor, both these viruses are type 2 RNA viruses. And it is possible that once the protease cuts the protein coat, the RNase enzyme in the milk might be inactivating them. Now, whether it's true or false is something that you will have to investigate. But it's very interesting. The Department of Agriculture, Ontario, Manitoba, Canada, on its website, has an advisory right from 2005 onward. We published this article a long time ago in Honeybee Newsletter, that milk can be used as a viral control. So if you go to Google, write milk viral control Manitoba, you will find that advisory from.
Hello.
Yes, Salim.
Sir, slide is stopped.
Hello, Salim.
Sir, slide is stopped. Sir, slide
Yes.
is not
I've not changed the slide. Please, I've not changed.
okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. I'm just telling the 2 stories because I want to give the context of how knowledge networks get created. So Department of Manitoba has an advisory of how you can use milk for viral control. Now, the current pandemic, when there is such a huge crisis and so many things are happening, leaders of this kind, a way of thinking about biology, new way of thinking about physiology, new way of thinking about biochemistry, new way of thinking about molecular biology might be of interest. And you might say, well, this insight can come from farmers, from pastoralists, from ordinary people. So the reason I'm saying this course could be relevant is that if we use this opportunity to reflect on the knowledge of our elders, knowledge of our informal sector, and do a review on them, write an assignment on that, we will have created, if there are about 550 students here, if each one of us did a review of one bit of knowledge. Let me give another example. And this is the third example I want to give, just to show that if we build bridges between the knowledge of the common people, knowledge of our mother, knowledge of our grandmother, and knowledge that we have in our scientific lab, we can do wonders. You might have noticed, you may not remember, but you may have noticed at least your niece and nephews, when they were infant, your mother or grandmother might have put a little bit of nutmeg. By rubbing it on a stone with a little water, she will put that paste on the navel of the child when they have a little gastric problem or flatulence. And the child gets relief very quickly. First of all, navel as a route for drug delivery is not much explored in science. You will agree with me. There are hardly any medicines in the chemist shop that you will buy which will be delivered through navel route. Whereas in our knowledge system, this navel route has been known for a long time. As fatida, for example, heme, when you mix it with the water and apply it for gastric problem again on the navel route, it has immediate effect. So one is a new drug delivery route, which we have not paid attention to. Second, how did our people discover that this route is more effective than giving orally or otherwise? So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that we should accept anything without scientific experimentation. But if we take this course as an opportunity to reflect on a very rich knowledge system that our society has, pick up one bit of it, deeply investigate it, and then generate some understanding by which our society can illuminate itself, and new solutions can be developed which are frugal, based on local resources, local knowledge, and easy to do it. Sometimes they are DIY solutions. Using nutmeg for gastric problem, putting it on the infant child's navel, anybody can do that. You don't need to go to chemist, or you don't need to go to doctor. It's a safe solution. So please appreciate that it is possible. It is possible to use this network approach to create bridges among the different knowledge systems. And I would very much wish that we do that. Let me share 4 kinds of capital that we all draw upon in our life to survive. First capital that came into being when human civilization evolved was natural capital. When evolution took place million years ago, when hominids started to walk straight, they started hunting, food gathering, they started claiming rights over territory. This is my area, I will graze my animal here, you graze there. I'll collect fruits from this forest, you collect from there. I'll collect fish here, you collect there. So boundaries started being drawn, and property rights started emerging. Mera, tera, mine, yours. This was the emergence of property right, the first institution in the historical evolution of humankind. Then came social capital. So let's say some of you might be fish eater, and you might know that when fish has to be caught, we have to allow fish to become large enough, big enough, so that we get more fish, better, more yield, but also the fish can reproduce and lay their eggs for the next season. So social capital is if the society finds some people are using a net, gill net of small mesh size, what will happen? Even small fish will get caught. When small fish get caught, the reproductive cycle will be disturbed. They will not be allowed to grow up to lay the eggs for the next season. Slowly and slowly, the fish will go down. So there are 3 things in social capital. Trust. If I don't catch a small fish, will you also not catch? This is called horizontal assurance. Second, reciprocity. I will not catch, you also don't catch, and we have trust that we will both follow this rule. And third is third-party sanction. If Ajay, you had a question? Ajay Kumar Verma, did you have a question? You have raised your hand. Unmute yourself. You have a question? Or by mistake, maybe you're back. You can also put on chat if there is a...
No, sir. No, sir. I'm Ajay Verma.
All right. Okay. So that's lower down your hand. All right. So now there comes the question that, so there are 3 things in social capital. Third-party sanction. That means I, who is not party to fishing, I observe you doing fishing with a small size net. I tell you, look, you are not doing the right thing. If you catch a small fish, they will not grow up. The eggs will not be laid for the next season. We will not find fish next year. So please don't do that. Ethical capital is something different. In ethical capital, sanctions are from within. So when nobody is watching us, and we notice that fish go up the stream for laying eggs, and they become very dull, they move very slowly, and they go into shallow waters to lay their eggs. At that stage, to catch them is easy. But almost all the cultures, all these societies around the world, communities around the world, have a taboo that during the spawning period, we will not catch fish. And nobody gives you, there is no third party sanction. You are sanctioning from within. So when internal regulations replace external regulations, it becomes ethical capital. Any lab, any group, any team which has high ethical capital, where nobody needs to watch and regulate who is doing what, that lab works very well. I remember, pardon me for using this example of one of the CSR lab. Long time ago, I went to meet Dr. Bhargav, who was at that time creating the CCMB lab. I wanted to meet him, and also Dr. Rajesh Singh had just come and joined the lab long time ago, maybe 30 years ago or 20 years ago. So I asked him, I said, you have this lab, what are the key principles? He said, no chemical and glassware will be under the lock. That means anybody can come. You need something in the night, take it, write down the logbook. If you find something is going to finish, send a message to the stores that they should replenish this bottle on this shelf, and that's it. So there was no need for anybody to hoard. There was no need for anybody to take more than what they needed, and everybody was better off because of the shared use of resources, no lock and key on the resources. That was mobilizing ethical capital. Once he told me a very interesting example. There was a contractor who was given a contract for plumbing in the lab. He came to Dr. Bhargav one day and he said, sir, I have got the order, but I will not supply this to you. He said, why will you not supply? Sir, I have seen that you always try to buy the best. There's another vendor in the city who can give you better quality fittings than me. And I'll connect you to him. You give order to that fellow. Can you imagine a private entrepreneur, please, a private entrepreneur who has got a contract for fittings refuses to fulfill the order, but there's someone better than him, and he has internalized the value that Dr. Bhargav was trying to communicate, try to get the best. Now, with no stretch of imagination, he would have found out the provider of the best fittings. So what I'm saying is, social capital is important, but ethical capital is even more important. Megha, please check. Anamika, please check.
Yes, sir, check.
Can you switch off, everybody, and then I will switch off, switch on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, doing.
Yeah. So it's very important that we realize the value of ethical capital. Now comes the intellectual capital. The intellectual capital is, yes, Mahesh, did you want to raise a question? Are you able to hear me? I hope.
Yes, yes, sir, we are here.
Thank you.
We can hear you.
So if somebody is not able to hear, then you please check your connection. You switch off your video and the sound might become better, because
Yeah, I hear you. Yes, yes.
Your network connection, you change your position, go closer to the server dongle or wherever the point is of the internet connection, then you might get better voice. It is not because of the problem at our end, problem is at your end. Kindly look it up, because other people are able to hear. So intellectual capital is very important because it is the knowledge about various exchanges that are taking place. And intellectual property is a very small part of intellectual capital. Many times we put too much of emphasis on patents and intellectual property, but it's a small part. That part of knowledge from the commercial application of which we exclude others for a given period of time. That is intellectual property. Incidentally, intellectual property is a negative right. If you have a patent on a drug, you don't have a right to make it unless you get drug controller's permission and so on and so forth. But you can prevent others from commercializing it. That's what you have the right of. For that, you don't need anybody's permission. So nevertheless, it's important to recognize, I wanted you to draw the emphasis between social capital and ethical capital. A lot of grassroots innovators have very high social capital and ethical capital. They share their knowledge often openly. And they will not mind it if others copy them many times. And therefore, we have developed some new concepts, which I will share with you in a minute. Let's go next. and look at how the ecosystem evolves for the grassroots innovations, and maybe even for our formal R&D, it might be something interesting to you. So when we saw this tree, this bridge, many of you may be from Northeast, some of you may be from Meghalaya, you might know, we went to this village. We have walked in every part of the country through Shodhyatras. I have walked in every single state of the country, from Gurej Valley to Andaman, from Meghalaya to Rajasthan, every single state, sometime more than twice, thrice in some states.
Sir,
so we were walking in Nogriate.
Sir, may I make a small point, sir, on the
Please
previous
go ahead.
slide?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Ashwini.
Sir, on the previous slide, when you talked about ethical capital and social capital, I think they are strongly related. I think once we have strong ethical capital, the social capital would automatically be built in.
That's a good point. That is why there is an overlap between ethical capital and social capital.
Sir.
This overlap is not 100%, because sometimes what happens, you tend to regulate your own behavior, but you know that others are not responding or reciprocating, but you continue to follow your norm. Some people are saying, and they get into prisoner's dilemma. Prisoner's dilemma is, if I follow the norms, the others don't, I'll be loser. Why should I follow the norms? And that is how society goes to, there's a downward spiral which gets built. So ethical capital can evaporate if people start competing and start observing others' behavior, which may not be in conformity with the norms that society has evolved. And therefore, we start losing out. That's why there is so much of dirt. Same Indian who is in Europe or in US doesn't throw the wrapper on the road, isn't it? Same Indian. Same Indian, when he comes back to India, tears the chocolate, takes the packet of the biscuit and throws the thing out of the car. Traveling in a car has no sense of responsibility. How come? Because the social capital in that society censored the behavior of anybody who will follow that norm. So you don't have to problem. Look at the number of traffic policemen you find in Europe. Hardly any, isn't it? People will look at the road. If you're coming from a side lane, you will look at left and right. Only then you will enter the main lane. So what I'm saying is society, you are absolutely right that societies develop. I mean, there are many societies where ethical capital has evolved into very high social capital. But in some societies, it has not. And that's where the external regulations become more important. So when you, let us say, cook food in your home, the first bread you often leave out for the birds, for the cow, for the dogs, for anybody, isn't it? That is an ethical capital. Nobody's asking you to do that. But we often don't eat the first bread we cook, which is supposed to be for the ants, for the squirrel, for the cat, for the dog, for the cow, for whosoever, some other animals, some other form of living being. And we think that they have a share in our life. And we nurture the nature. And we are nurtured in the process. But there is no punishment if you don't do that. That's why it is ethical capital. It is from within. Your parents, your family may have ingrained this value. But if others don't do that, then we find that now the sparrows are not visible in these cities very much, because people have not been caring about the birds so much. So social capital and ethical capital feed into each other, surely, but not completely. I wish they did. And some societies, they do. So therefore, those societies become welfare state where, you find very little interference from the institutions, from the government. They are self-governed societies where people follow rules and their things work very well, by and large. Scandinavian countries are such where both social and ethical capital converge a great deal. That's why on happiness index, sometimes they come up on the top. On education thing, they come up on the top. Because there is a lot of responsibility that everybody fulfills in their role. Pallavi, you had a question. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I want to know from where we can read about it, as it is not that much audible to understand in one go.
Yeah.
So is it your paper you had given the source, Gupta 2001?
Yes. So there's a paper. Several of us are involved in that paper. I should have given. There's called Articulating Ethical Capital. I will send you the. Anamika, can you put the paper on the chat? So there is a paper in which we have talked about. Several of us have worked together, and they have cited this work which was done later on. This paper is, I think, 2003, but I can also share with you the 2001 source, which was a paper for WIPO also. So there I have described this. You can read about it. Articulating Ethical Capital. If you write on the net and write my name, you will find that paper. There's many on the. Yeah. let's go further. So I was talking about this bridge. So we went to this village, Nagriat, and we found something strange. So we asked people, why did you build this bridge? It takes about 50 years to build. It lasts for about 200 years, 300 years. So we wanted to do something different, something sustainable, something that will last, that will not produce much entropy. So we thought we will do something different. So we didn't want to make a bridge that other people made, because that involved energy, that involved wastage, that involved non-renewable resources, etc. So culture created a question. Then they found that the roots of the ficus species, rubber tree on both sides of the river, seemed like rope. So they said, well, maybe we can use them like a rope and pull them and tie with each other slowly and slowly, and put stones in between, and the roots will grow around the stones, and it might become a passage, technology. But you can't pull them alone. You need group action, institutions. So science is alphabet, technology is like word, institutions are like grammar, culture is like thesaurus. We need all the four to build a sustainable ecosystem. All the four. We need the right kind of culture which create questions about why this problem has not been solved. Why am I living with an inefficient system? Why is the system not responding? And therefore we protest and we try to reform the system and make it better. So these are four building blocks which will be required no matter what ecosystem we build. But at the grassroots level, we will see as we proceed that these are often evident in the ecosystem that we do. This course is also trying to talk about inclusive development. How would we define inclusion? There are 6 kinds of exclusion that takes place. If you overcome these exclusion, development is inclusive. So first is spatial exclusion, a spatial exclusion. So let's say there are regions, remote regions. We went for a Shodhyatra in Narayan Bastar. And after 3 kilometers from the Narayanpur city, nobody enters there, but we went of course quite deep. There's no facility there except Mitanin, that is Asha worker, and PDS, nothing else work there. There are many regions which are bypassed, desert, hill areas. So spatial exclusion. Second is sectoral exclusion. So I'm wearing khadi. Khadi has not received much attention from the scientists and technologists. We have not got too many innovations in loom design, in better stitching of the buttonhole, in better fixing of the buttons, the hemming of the edges of the kurta. Many times the thread, just like this, see this thread is coming out. I mean, we have not improved the quality to the extent that we could. This has been a neglected sector. Although it employs a lot of people after agriculture, handloom and khadi is a very major employer of the people, weavers. Seasonal exclusion, floods, hailstorm, snow, Lahore Spiti. When you go to Rohtang Pass, we cross the Rohtang Pass, 16,000 feet, 17,000 feet, 16,000 feet, cross it, and then you go into the valley where in Lahore Spiti, where potato seed is made, and very beautiful valley. But for some months, it is out of touch with the rest of the country. So seasonal exclusion, how do you deliver things during that period? Social segment, we know that certain communities in our country which have been discriminated for millennia, not centuries, millennia, and continue to be discriminated against people today, I would say, despite reservations, despite all the things that our state has done. There are mental blocks against certain inclusive ways of dealing with life, and that is an exclusion on social segments. Skill and knowledge, certain kind of skill is not finding market anymore. The tree climbers, for example, for a long time found that there were not many to be found. They had gone to the Gulf, wherever. People started shifting from coconut to paddy and other systems. Structure of governance. Sometimes the norms of the state are causing exclusion. So let's say you find you want to allocate 1 health worker for 800 families. 800 families in a high population density area will be in maybe 2 square kilometers, 3 square kilometers, maybe 5 square kilometers. Whereas in Jodhpur, where 35 persons per square kilometer, the density, rural Jodhpur or Jaisalmer, you will have to cover much larger area. How can that worker be there? This is the wrong norm. The norm for Jaisalmer, for rural Jodhpur, where population density is low, should be different. But government doesn't have different norms. That is a systematic exclusion by the policy-based exclusion. Naturally, people will not get the support service. Why I'm saying this? You will be, some of you will be the policymakers in future. Kindly pay attention. When we develop solutions, when we develop technology, I'll give you an example. We were working in Dhimaji. Some of you may be working on water purification problem from NIRI or some other institution. We were in Dhimaji where Ulfa was born in Assam. The water there had very high iron content. Now, this problem requires filters to be, they had filters, local developed, so they take 2 canisters. One they fill with the sand and some gravel, and they put the water becomes clean. We filled that water in our bottle. We walked for about 50 yards and the water became brown because there was dissolved iron in that. And with oxidation, it became brown. So that means that the current system that they have is not sufficient enough, but is strong enough to remove all the iron. Now, the demand for filters, which are especially suited for that region, will be about, let's say, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. No company will develop those filters for them. So what should happen? These people will continue to suffer from high iron. Who will develop a solution for them? Maybe their own solution can be improved by something more that can be put. You know how Tata's had built a silver nanoparticle impregnated rice straw based water filter. Only thing is, can people access that material? Can people who are less than 100 rupees a day for whole family afford it? So there are problems which remain unmet because we somehow have not cared to document it. We have not cared to put it on our agenda. When we select problems, pardon me for saying this, my dear friends, but I'm going to say this. Many times it is the guide who decides the problem. The guide had done some work, good reason. They may have a very good established research practice and they would like that students take this idea forward, and it is justified in many cases. But in some cases, students might have their own problem to pursue. And the guide duty then becomes, all right, okay, all right. If you want to do something different, there should be space for doing that. You come from a region, let me give you another example of how certain sectors get excluded. You know, in forest, some of you might come from the region where forest is there still. And so, or some of you might have gone to the forest to visit it. And you might know that there are several trees which produce nuts, like mahua, from which the tribal people make liquor. So we extract the seed out of the mahua fruit, and then you know how we break it with a stone. I'll show you that in the next class. 10,000-year-old technology is still being used in Bastar, in many parts of Gadchiroli for 10,000 years. A proper nut breaker, nut cracker has not been developed for that. We have CMERI, we have IITs, we have many institutions. We can deliver 104 satellites in different orbits in a single launch. That capacity we have. And I salute that capacity of ISRO. They are doing a great job. So that means it is not lack of capability that this problem remains unsolved. Then what is the problem? Maybe these people can't put pressure on us. They can't put pressure on our director. They can't put pressure on our guides. Maybe in our curriculum, there is no exposure to these problems. Maybe. Otherwise, how come that not even 1 gram of forest produce is valorized in the forest? All of it comes out as raw material. That's why tribal people remain poor. Because they only are doing a labor of collecting. They don't add value. There is no in situ value addition. In situ means where it occurs. There is no value addition taking place in the forest. You won't find a single pharmacy, a single processing unit, exceptions apart. Now, those who can make liquor no distillation, I wish some of you will develop a project on a fractional distillation. Then a tribal will not sell liquor. He will extract phytochemicals from the same plant, maybe 15, 20, 30 plants, 30 phytochemicals from the same material, and sell in ml instead of in tons. That day development will become evident, and we will find poverty evaporating immediately, vanishing. Bipin, yes, go ahead. Bipin, you had a question? All right. So what I'm saying is, this is very important part of this course. My appeal to all of you is kindly pay attention. Kindly pay attention to the problems which have remained unaddressed for millennia. And we see so much development taking place, so many new innovations coming up, so many startups are coming up, and they're solving very good problems. For instance, our friend from IT Delhi, what is his name? Vikas Pandey. He saw a problem that for identifying the TB organism, you need fluorescent microscope. Fluorescent microscope costs about 8 to 9 lakh rupees. He used a normal microscope of 25,000 rupees, attached another device of 25,000 rupees. Now this microscope became a fluorescent microscope in 50,000 rupees. Every primary health center can afford to have a fluorescent microscope. With the result that you can isolate, you can identify the bacteria, and therefore, if you diagnose TB early, you can also treat it early. Now it's a treatable disease. That's a beautiful example of good science, high quality science being used to address a very grassroots problem in a very affordable manner. There are a large number of such examples I'll show you in the next class. So what I'm trying to say is that there are some of you have indeed done it, what I'm saying, but more needs to be done. And I would persuade those of you who are in early stage of your PhD, take at least one hobby problem, one project which you, with the help of undergraduate and postgraduate students to work with you in a team, solve it. Take the case of oximeter. I mean, is it possible to develop a small attachment to the phone wherever these phones are available so that we could get the SpO2 value at very low cost from the phone itself? Attachment of maybe 100 rupees, 200 rupees. We need it so badly. Many times people in rural areas are not able to find out how serious the patient is. They get late in going to the hospital. And a lot of lives are being lost. We need to develop an open source, inclusive innovation for life-saving solutions. A simple oximeter. A simple thermal sensor which can be attached to the phone so that you can get the temperature. Very simple, low cost. These are possible. And I don't think it is beyond your capacity to do that. And we have to do it in real time. We have to do it today or yesterday because people are dying. So the point I'm trying to make is that the alacrity with which we can develop these solutions will come from our ability to feel these problems. Let me give you one simple example. This is a hand pump, and many of you, those who come from rural areas, must have seen it. What is the design defect here? Anybody? It's obvious, but still I want to hear from one of you. What is the design defect? Yeah, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. This is Bharat from IGIB.
Yeah, please.
So whenever using these hand pumps, so let's say you want to drink half a glass water, but when you pump the hand pump, more water comes out and water is wasted every time.
Correct, correct. And this problem must have been there for at least few hundred years, Bharat, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Since hand pumps are there, this problem is there.
Since you have observed it, I have observed it, we are party to the crime, Bharat. Don't mind my saying this. Say, na bhai?
Absolutely, sir.
We are party to the crime. We are party to the crime because we have witnessed this problem and we learn to live with this problem. So what happened? In my class, I raised this problem. So one student gave one idea, Chandan Agarwal, and there were the two innovators from Rajasthan, Swayambhu Sharma, another innovator. And by combining different ideas, two another innovators developed a 100 rupees retrofitting solution, small pipe for drinking purpose, bigger pipe for filling the bucket. And you can put water in the body of the pump itself so that many times you are alone and your one hand is the handle on one side, the output is on the other side. How do you drink water? So now you can put the water about a liter in the body of the hand pump. You can open the tap and drink it. And if still some water overflows, you collect it in a ditch so that animals can drink water. This is inclusion not only of human beings, but also non-human sentient beings can also drink water. Isn't it a good inclusive innovation? Simple solution. 100 rupees retrofitting. Solutions are possible. For any problem, there is a solution. Only thing is, we should be bothered by this problem. We should be affected by this problem. This Mansur Bhai Jagani, he was the inventor of this motorcycle-based flying machine. 1992, he developed this solution. 2003, GIAN and SRISTI and Honeybee Network filed a patent in US. At that time, there were only 2 people in GIAN. It was granted in 2003. Adaptive agricultural machine. You can find it on the net. Why? Because there wasn't anything of this kind in US at that time. Then it went through multiple derivative innovations. So this became one innovation where you can take it on the cotton field and you can sprinkle, you can move over the cotton field. And so many other models came about. One innovation led to multiple derivative innovations. This is another example. There was the same problem. Kerala, one person is facing this problem. China, one farmer is facing this problem. They have a lake in between. They have to cross the lake, take the things to the market in the from his village. So what this farmer did, he converted his boat into motor. What this innovator did in Kerala, PS Vinod, he converted his car into boat. This is much more costly. This is much more frugal solution. Same problem, different solutions, one more frugal, one less. But in this case, cycle-based weeder, Gopal Bhai Visi does it in Ahmednagar, Maharashtra, in China, in different parts, they develop it. 2 civilizational societies finding similar solution across the Himalayas, struggling and finding the solutions because they're not exchanging knowledge enough. Leaving aside the politics of it. The point is that that is what Honeybee Network tries to do, to cross-pollinate and show that if we are facing a problem and if that problem is affecting somebody else in another part of the world, why should everybody invent a solution? They invent a solution. Why can't we share? Why can't we cross-pollinate the ideas? And this is a do-it-yourself solution. Anybody can make it. So there are different models by which needs can be met. You can have a recipe approach, a specific solution for a specific problem. You can have flexible solution. Just now we saw the case of motorcycle-based flying machine. There are 200 different fabricators making derivative solutions. They can repurpose, they can recombine things into different ways. Or sometimes we saw the case of boat and car. Multiple heuristics can be used, some more frugal than others. We should ask that question. I'm solving this problem, but in the lab, it's costing me so much. Is there a way by which I can make it less costly? You remember Manu Prakash, a very dear friend, and I had been a judge of his presentation when he was a student, undergraduate student in IIT Kanpur. Today he's a professor in Stanford. And he found a very simple thing, that a string that you have by which the small disc in the middle rotates almost. He found out that if you put a blood drop on that disc, you can make a centrifuge just by pulling the thread, and this will move around 2000 RPM. And with that, you can separate the blood and its components and then do your analysis. What a low-cost centrifuge. Such a simple solution. He also made foldscope, as some of you might know, 3D printed microscope. So there are solutions possible. High good science at low cost. That's what the good science would be, where you can find a solution, affordable solution, by using very high quality science. And of course, we can develop building blocks which other people can develop solutions from. It could be either Lego approach, where the building blocks, people combine them in different ways and then develop their own solutions. So many open fabs, open innovating people They make small solutions. GitHub is one site some of you might know where a lot of open source building blocks are lying there. People then combine them into different, both software and hardware solutions. Recently, we collected about 15 oxygen concentrators design because we wanted quickly good robust design to come up, which people can then fabricate and develop oxygen concentrators because there's a huge need for it in health. Unfortunately, if third wave comes, we will need many more oxygen concentrators. Second is where heuristic works. For example, if we were walking in a village in Kutch and one farmer, after listening to me for half an hour, said, "Sir, we understood what you are saying." I said, "What am I saying?" He said, "You are saying that any plant which animals don't eat can be a potential source of pesticide." I said, "That's interesting." I took half an hour to say this. You could understand in one word, in one line. He was wise, I was intelligent. I had knowledge, he had wisdom. Why do animals don't eat those plants? Because they are toxic. What do I need for controlling pest population? Toxicity. Why do I buy it from the market? Why can't I make herbal pesticide out of those? And today it has become a huge movement. When we talked about it 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people didn't pay attention. Today, that has become the way of life. So-called zero budget farming is nothing but using these 5 toxic plants or 7 toxic plants and making extract and using it as pest control. Very low cost DIY solution. So we can remove a lot of chemical pesticides from our life. Before I proceed, I'll take a break here. Anybody wants to ask any question, you can take 5-minute break and then move forward. Anybody wants to make a comment, ask questions, we'll take a small break here. Any objection to what I'm saying, any strong disagreement with what I'm saying, you can unmute yourself and make a point. Or yes, Shiv Prakash, you want to ask something or make a comment? Anybody has a question or a comment which you want to make?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Nitin.
Sir, I want to ask, I've been following you since almost a decade now on Shodh Yatra and other things. I want to understand that we have n number of solutions. But to scale it and make it available to the last mile becomes a challenge. So how, what stakeholders should be involved? Public.
Correct. Very good question. Nitin, is your question related to what Shiv is saying, or is it a different question? Then I will hear your question first before responding. Nitin? No, I'm saying Nitin has a question, whether it is related to what you said, then we can take more questions and then respond together so that more people can speak. Nitin, you raised your hand, Nitin Akhade?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did ask that question.
Actually, you asked this question. All right. Okay, well, the answer is that there is a long tail of innovation. Let me show it to you. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
So here you have degree of diffusion. On the horizontal axis, you have time. So some innovations diffuse a lot, as you can see here. They scale very fast. Some diffuse less, some diffuse less, some diffuse less, some diffuse less, some don't diffuse much at all. This is called long tail of innovation. You go to a garden and there's only one kind of flower. You would not spend too much time in that garden, hopefully. Another garden, there are 50 kinds of flowers, and you will be enchanted to look at them, see their behavior. There will be more butterflies, there will be different insects, and so on and so forth. So what happens is that some solutions are such that they can their application is very widespread. A variety, or let's say mobile phones diffuse very widely. Even though 60% people even today don't have a smartphone. Whereas some other solutions have not diffused. You know, in your own lab, there may be many products developed over the last 2, 3, 4 decades which have not gone to the market. Not because they're not good enough, maybe because we didn't find the right people who could have diffused them, or they were solving a niche-based problem. That niche disappeared, or that niche found some other solution. People did not take that anymore. So therefore, in an ecosystem, we will have some solutions which are niche-based. A specific valley there that plant can grow, then that seed will grow only there. For example, recently IHBT brought certain seeds, certain seedlings of S. fatida, which was grown in Afghanistan. And now they're growing it in India first time. And they found niches where they will grow, it will grow very well. So they're trying to adapt it. A good application. But you can't expect it to grow everywhere because it's not suitable for those niches. In a specific agroclimatic condition, only it will diffuse. So some problems, some solutions don't diffuse because the niche for them is restricted, is small. Some don't diffuse because there is nobody carrying them forward in a missionary mode, to popularize them. Some don't diffuse because there's no entrepreneur. You know, in GIAN's triangle, we will discuss it next class, innovation, investment, enterprise. And this triangle doesn't get built. You have innovation. Now, I'll give you an example. National Indian Institute of Petroleum. Anjan Ray, some of you know now because he's managing your scholarships and he's going to solve. He's a very smart fellow. He'll solve your problem very soon. I'm quite confident. I've been reading about it and I empathize with you. So he developed very interesting solution for good Khansari unit. But the problem is that he could install it in 3 or 4 places. Now there are Western UP is full of Khansari units. You must have funds to do it at 500 places. 2 or 3 is not enough to showcase their success. That's another reason why innovations don't diffuse. You didn't showcase. How did agriculture sector deal with it? They had a system of on-farm trial of innovations or innovative varieties or herbal pesticide or whatever they had. And they did it in 10,000 villages, 100,000 villages. And the idea got adopted in some places, directed in some places, and the varieties diffused all over. In CSIR, in industrial research, we have not yet developed a system of showcasing solutions, non-agricultural solutions at large scale. Even for grassroots innovation, the same problem. Where is the All India Coordinated Project, which will take up a farmer's innovation and showcase in 50 places, 100 places, 5,000 places, 50,000 places? So therefore, that is another reason why many times innovations don't diffuse. So I'm not saying that innovations should not. Some varieties have diffused. HMT variety of paddy by Dada Khobragade from Yavatmal, Chandrapur in Maharashtra, diffused to more than 100,000 acres. Like that, there are some. The apple variety by Harman Sharma is growing in plain in Delhi. DST secretary found in his house that seedling was grown 6 years ago. Ashutosh mentioned in his Facebook post, now he's getting apple in Delhi. Apple growing in Delhi? Yes, in his own garden. Because that variety developed by Harman Sharma from Himachal is bearing fruits in plains. In 21 states, it was different by an app. So therefore, there are some examples where solutions have gone very wide. But I will agree with you that funds for testing and demonstrating, first testing, then demonstrating the validity of an innovation in large enough location is a gap in our policy system. Tangman ji, हमको solve करना पड़ेगा. CSIR में we have not given sufficient funds to each lab to showcase their solutions at large number of locations, large number of units, large number of clusters. So unless we show a solution in 500 places, how will it get adopted? So many times we blame scientists that, look, their solutions are not diffusing. They're not diffusing because they're not showcasing to people, potential users. And we don't have an extension wing in CSIR. In agriculture department, agriculture university, you have extension wing, isn't it? Those whose job is only to diffuse. But in CSIR, we don't have a cadre of people whose job is to go to the industrial clusters, go to the units, manufacturing units, showcase them, how this technology can save energy, how this technology can reduce the waste, reduce the waste, etc., etc. Even then, Aroma Mission, for example, is a good example where they have had very dedicated scientists who went to different parts of the country and made certain solutions visible. But this point is valid. I accept this question that we have not solved this problem. But please understand, this is not a simple question to understand. This long tail means some solutions will be niche specific. They will not diffuse widely, whereas some will. But some solution can diffuse widely and not diffusing because of institutional constraints. Any other comment before I proceed further? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I see students also interacting in the chat box. It's a very good practice. I think that's the purpose. Primarily, it is serving that students across ACSI they should interact. And also from ACSI, I just want to say, don't go into the details of the formalities. It is the course for the functionalities. So what it means is what you learn how to do, how it changes your thoughts, how you improve your thoughts, how ideation can be catalyzed. These are the core lessons. So how in terms of their grades and all that, not to go into this, the grades are more interactions between you and be more focused on certain thoughts and to look at the society and the needs of the people and how you can contribute to it. It is a priming kind of a thing. So from ACSR side, don't worry about anything. Our interest is to have a learning. Thank you.
Good. So I noticed some questions, and Anamika has answered one of the questions. And Sangeeta, I'm very hopeful that what you're mentioning, that you see, that is the purpose, that if we can bring about some change in our way of thinking and start noticing the potential for lab attendant to teach us something valuable, potential of a gardener, of a driver telling us something useful, potential of a simple solution that our grandmother has become a technology, or a grassroots innovator has developed a solution. Do you know that when you use a grinder for making a juice, if you grind the orange, you will get the juice which is bitter because seeds will get crushed. Some of you might have tried. So you have to use a very different kind of juicer for oranges. Dharamveer, an innovator in Yamunanagar, has developed a food processing machine which does not break the seed even of blackberry, jamun, amla, anything that you will crush in that machine. Seeds will come separately and the juice will come separately. And you can even get the essential oil out of that seed. So there are some innovations which are, let me please switch off. I'll have to mute it, yes. So disturbance can be reduced. Now let me continue. If you have no other question, then I'll continue. But otherwise, please unmute yourself. Or Anamika, if you can read out the question, something which I missed, I can take it. So we were here, and I want to break.
So there is a general question about Jugaad and innovation, and also that innovations have to be safe and secure. And,
correct.
So my take on this is we agree
your
that
answer is right. Your answer is right that Jugaad is a makeshift solution, is a temporary solution. And no society can progress very far by using a Jugaad approach. Jugaad it reduces the tension in our mind to find a durable solution. That is the problem. Jugaad mindset is not helpful for making long-term solutions, long-term sustainable solutions. It's all right, it gets you around the problem for a while, but it doesn't get you on the top problem to solve it forever. That's why I'll give you an example of a Jugaad mindset. Many of you have adapter of your phone or laptop. At least in the case of phone, you must have noticed that when you plug your adapter to the point in office or at home or in your lab, sometimes it is very loose, isn't it? Sometimes it is too tight, sometimes it is too loose. And you have to hold it or you have to put some pegging there. Nowhere else in the world this problem comes up. Only in India this problem comes up. Because we have not standardized. We have not made the springs inside the socket of the plug of such material that they will not lose the tension, and no matter whether the pin is thin or thick, it will remain in its place. We could not develop a proper socket for the plug in this country in the last 70 years because of Jugaad mindset. And all of us have faced this problem. At airport, in hotels, wherever you go, we are not able to. And you go to Europe, you go to US, you go to Southeast Asia, this problem doesn't arise there. You take an adapter and it goes right there. Not in our country. So Jugaad is a mindset which is dangerous. It helps you to tide over the problem temporarily, but doesn't really take you very far. So we should not celebrate it too much. It's okay sometimes that it is a low-cost solution and helps you to find a quick fix. But we need to get over this problem. We need to overcome that gap that exists. One small point I want to make here is that...
Hello?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Sir, what about a heavy voltage adapters and light voltage? Like for AC, we need a big switch, and for mobile adapters and laptops, we need another one. So by having a single adapter or single thing, how we can use in separate machines? How we can use that for several machine purpose? So having diversity, sometimes it's better.
I didn't talk about diversity. I'm talking about looseness in the connection. I'm saying that the plug is not fixing up in the socket properly. That's what I'm saying. You agree that that's a problem many times?
Yeah, with me
now,
also.
why should that problem? Nowhere in the world, nowhere else in the world. I have traveled all over the world. Nowhere else you face this problem. Only in India you face this problem. Even in Bangladesh you don't face this problem. They use better plugs, better sockets. So there's a problem that we have learned to live with this fact that if connection is not proper, my iPhone, for example, I put the cable and the cable is not fixing properly because it's not designed properly. And my original cable must have been misplaced. So I have to press it for charging. This is a problem that we need to find solution to, because the Jugaad or the temporary solutions don't help very much. They create a mental space for inefficiency. That's what I'm trying to say. A Jugaad mindset will make you adjust with the inefficient solution because, ऐसे ही होता है. ऐसे नहीं होता है भाई. This is not the way we will do it. We will find a proper solution. And this problem has not gone away from our country because we are not recognizing this as a basic flaw in our system. You know, recently, US government at challenge.gov, if you go to challenge.gov, or you write on the Google mask challenge US, you will find in April, I think on 21st or 23rd April, this challenge ended. For 1 month, they announced a $500,000 challenge award for designing a mask. All of us know that when we put the mask on, the vapor from the above the mask goes to the spectacles and make them foggy, isn't it? Then we have to take off our specs and clean them. We all know that. Sometimes there is a space around the nose and the air enters from there, and that means I'm not breathing only the air that I'm filtering, but also the unfiltered air. There are many defects in the wire, when the string that you put around the ears, it hurts your ears. And I can go on explaining the problem. Some of the problem they have listed on this website, some they have not, but 500,000 award for designing mask, a solution that we will have to use more and more often in the coming years. That society is finding an innovative solution. We are living with this problem quietly. In fact, GIAN has just announced a small award, not 500,000, $5,000 award for designing masks just yesterday. So the question is that we should not live with these problems. Now, I want to refer to just two small things here as a reference, because when you do assignments, when you do projects, you might find this solution, this information useful. What we try to do in Honeybee Network, we try to pool a lot of open source databases. And we do this because we want people to use this open source information and develop better innovations. Blend your ideas with the ideas available in the databases that we have. We claim to be one of the largest provider of open source content on the net in this regard. So for example, techpedia.in has 200,000 engineering project information. Recently, AcSIR has pooled the abstracts of all the projects that are going on. But we should pull them at techpedia.in also, which already has 200,000 engineering project abstracts or titles. What is the advantage? The advantage is when you're writing your synopsis, when you're looking for a problem, a solution, an insight, you go to Techpedia, search for it, and you will find on machine learning, you will find on sensors, you will find on thermal conductivity, you will find on solar or whatever project that students have done. Some of it may be useful to you, some of it may not be useful to you. Doesn't matter. You will not begin from scratch. Your transition cost of finding information goes down. Two students, Zaigam and Devika, along with us, and me and Anamika work together, and they have developed a database, GIAN.org/patent.php. 0.9 million abundant US patents for free use, 9.9 million. They're all available to you free of cost. They're abundant, so you can use them in your research, in your technology development process. No infringement because they're abundant, they're not renewed. Similarly, grid.undp.org and many other databases are there which you can use. The reason I'm saying is that for innovation, you do need open source databases. Each one of you must create open source content. One of the things that I often ask my friends, is anybody in my class today whose upload to download ratio is more than 1? Anybody, please raise your hand. Who has uploaded more content on the web than he or she has downloaded? Anybody? You understand what I'm saying? We are the world's largest consumer of content. We don't produce content enough. So then you will find the bias in citation behavior because people will cite those who are sharing their content. Many times our work is not cited properly. We don't share properly. We don't share our ideas. So this is one area where innovations diffuse. We are putting these open source databases because we want you to use this knowledge and be able to take this forward and be able to build upon it. Let's go further. Let's go further and let's see some solutions. So when we look at the solutions in the grassroots innovation, we developed a concept of technology commons, which means people-to-people copying is allowed, but people-to-firm is through licensing. If some company wants to commercialize, they have to license it. If some fellow farmer, fellow mechanic, fellow small entrepreneur want to copy it, copy it. But we don't want to come in the way of cross-pollination. Neighborhood exchange of information should not be constrained. Affordability versus accuracy. You know, many vaccines that have been developed today are only 60% effective, only 70% effective. Some are 80% effective. Some are 90%. If a vaccine can be stored at room temperature, and if it is, let us say, only 65% effective, we might jump on it because it will help us to vaccinate more people without needing a cold chain. So many times we make a trade-off between affordability and accuracy. We have made that in the case of vaccines. Think of it. You may have a wonderful solution, but nobody can use it. What's the point? I'm not saying we don't need accurate solution. Of course, we need good science and good solutions, but we also need affordable science, affordable solutions. And these affordable solutions, you may have to sometime trade off in the accuracy. So long as it is still better than what we have a choice. So think of it as a way in which grassroots innovators do that. They make this trade-off very often. Their solution may not be as precise as you would like them to be, but they are affordable. I mentioned about this challenge award just now. There are two challenge awards I want to mention. Gandhiji issued a challenge award in 1929. 1929. If you go to gyti.techpedia.in/announcement, Anamika, can you uska link de देंगे जरा आप chat पे दे दीजिए please, challenge award का. So on 24 July 1929, he announced an award of 1 lakh rupees or 7,700 pounds to redesign the spinning wheel. And the upper charkha that came out much later, 1930, is said to be an offshoot of that competition. US government announced in 2021, March, April, a 500,000 challenge award, which is different. Even Bangladesh has challenge awards. We should have announced challenge awards for many problems that we are facing, for low-cost concentrator, for low-cost oximeter. So what are we saying? We are saying about learning, leveraging, linking, and legitimization. We are saying that we need learning, we need leveraging, we need linking, innovation, investment, enterprise, and of course, we need legitimization, as NIF, National Innovation Foundation, has tried to do. And in the process, we build an ecosystem. Now, there are three things that we are talking about here: frugality, sustainability, and inclusiveness. You have seen those sachets of tea or mukwas, mouth freshener. They are of plastic, 1 rupee sachet. Very frugal, very inclusive. Now calculate the cost of collecting that piece of plastic from 650,000 villages of India. Very costly, not sustainable at all. So when you develop solutions, are they frugal for consumer only? Are they frugal for the nature? And of course, for the manufacturing. We often use frugality for consumer. We forget about frugality for nature. This pandemic has shown that if we do not develop frugal solution, even for cremation, we are burning so much of wood, unfortunately. Obviously, this will put a load on our forest. And you can imagine how many, there's a very interesting innovation. Anamika should share that in the next class, where a crematorium has been developed which uses hardly 100 kg of wood per body, whereas the normal cremation consumes about 400 kg of wood. How many have been installed? 3 or 4. So frugality, but also sustainability and inclusivity, all the three are important in grassroots. And grassroots innovation generally involve these three. And then these need to be accessible, affordable, and available. You have a paracetamol cost 10 paisa. It is accessible because dispensary is nearby. It is affordable because cost is low. But there is a stock out, no stock in the dispensary. What's the point? You know how many medicines today are not available in the market. There's a huge crisis. Poor people are not able to afford even low-cost solutions. Forget about the costly ones because they don't have connections. They don't have approach. They don't have power. So they're not able to get those medicines sometimes, which are the privileged people are able to get it. So there are many civil society groups are making medicines. There's a movement that we have also started. If you have leftover medicines, please give it to us. We will deliver it to the patients who can't afford it. All of you should try to do that because in every house, in each one of your house, there will be medicines lying unused. Either because you didn't complete the course or you needed 6 tablets and you bought 10, 4 are lying unused. And we can use it. At this moment, country needs all kinds of solidarity, availability of solutions. There are things lying at a wrong place. They're lying in your home. They will become time barred. They will be thrown away in the dustbin. Please pool them, share them with the local government dispensary or somebody you know who can share with the poor patients who otherwise will be suffering or who may not be able to buy them. This pandemic is going to make lots of millions of people into debt. All their savings of several years have gone, completely gone. They're under debt. And the consequence of that will be seen in the coming years when you will realize the compromises the people will have to make to deal out of this, get out of this debt. So we are going through a very tough time. And it requires that we must rethink our priorities. We must rethink our system, how the solutions that grassroots people develop, can we build those capabilities, those features in our solutions as well? Now I come to something very fundamental. So far we have discussed different ways in which problems are solved. One of the problems that I have noticed, and this problem is not only among young people, it's also among these adults like me, our knowledge is expanding so much. Our feelings are only this much. Our action is only this much. Ask anything about any problem that you feel strongly about. And ask yourself, what action did you take to solve that problem or to convert that feeling into action? Our reduction rate of knowledge into feeling, feeling into action is rather poor. And that there is a word in Hindi, Sanskrit, and I will share that word. It's called samvedana. Many innovations that grassroots people develop are very samvedansheel. Sam means equal, vedana means pain. When you feel the pain of someone else as intensely as that person feels it, it is no more that person's pain, it becomes your pain. Then because of the feeling of swanta hai sukhai, that means for your own happiness, you try to reduce your pain. You're not developing innovation to solve somebody else's problem. You're developing innovation to solve your problem that bothers you, that bothers me. In English, we use the word empathy, but it is not equivalent of samvedana. Empathy is for others, samvedana is within. So I would strongly, let me see if there's a chat comment. Let's come. So it is very important that we reflect on this ratio of knowledge, feeling, and doing. You know, our colleagues, don't mind my sharing some experience, some ideas. Anamika goes in the morning, 8 o'clock. She generally gets up very late, but nowadays she goes early morning. Our other colleagues come and they cook chapatis. Some other people make roti sabzi. And there are many patients who are in the general hospital. Their relatives are waiting outside. They can't go home because they come from far off place. They sleep on the ground. They don't have money or there's no cafeteria there. So they go and distribute the food to them. Many groups are trying to do this. That the wards of the patient need food. Many times the security staff on the duty, also they keep work because they have to watch for law and order purposes and all that, for keeping the doctors and nurses safe. They also need food. So what I'm trying to say that take up any cause that bothers you, any cause that affects you. There are people who feed these stray dogs in the morning. I go for a walk and I see that every day morning. They may not be able to feed every dog. They feed few dogs. That's okay. You can't solve all problems, but you can solve some problem. There's a story. There was a person walking on the seashore. And a lot of starfishes were being thrown by the waves on the shore. There was a lady watching this man. This man will pick up starfishes and throw them back into the sea. The lady asked him, look, there are thousands of starfishes being thrown on the shore by the sea waves. You can't save all of them. He picked up one. Some of you might have heard this story. He picked up one, threw it back into the sea. He said, I can save this one. No action is too small. No action is too small. If innovators think that because they can't solve all the problems of the world, they should not solve even that problem, then no innovation will take place. No initiative will come about. No change will come about. So kindly reflect whether there are issues about which you feel. We can't feel about everything. That's very true. But things about which we feel, are we taking sufficient action on them? Is it possible that our feelings become more deeper and make us uneasy, unsettled, so that we take some action? Let us see how people do that. So as I said, we walk in different parts of the world and we look for innovations. A change not monitored is a change not desired. If you're not monitoring certain changes that you want in this world, you are not wanting them. Very simple. I wrote this in 1984 and I still believe in it. Kindly reflect on it. Kindly reflect on it. Kindly reflect on it. So we really trying to align people, product, process, service, structure, and system. We'll not get into detail, but this triangle is important. This is what led us to set up GIAN in 1997. SRISTI was set up in 93. GIAN was set up in 97. Innovation, investment, enterprise. Some of you ask questions, why did innovations not diffuse? Innovation is a response to unmet need. It could be by a scholar and scientist like you. It could be by the grassroots person. It could be technological problem, institutional problem, educational problem. Let me ask you a question. All of you know that almost 60% people in this country don't have a smartphone. We are having this class online. How do you think children in the government school whose parents did not have a smartphone, what happened to them during online education? What is happening to them even today? Any answer?
Sir, I am Madhav from CSIR, CSMCRI, Gujarat.
Yeah.
Sir, in the news channel, I have heard that some fellow sold his buffalo to buy a smartphone. So many people, underprivileged people who cannot give a smartphone to their children, so they have no option today. So they are selling their land, or they are selling the valuable things like cows, buffaloes, or trees, anything, to provide the good smartphone, at least average smartphone to their children.
But you know, Madhav, that there are many parents who don't have much asset at all, So
Yes,
their children are not getting access to education. And if you have 3 children, you need 3 smartphones. You understand?
Exactly, sir.
Because they will be having classes at the same time. So what did Bala Jadhav, whom we gave HB Kriya award, GIAN has set up an award, international award. I hope Anamika will tell in the next class. HB Kriya, Honeybee Network, Creativity and Inclusive Innovation Award. HB CRRIA. So it's an international award. So one of the award went to this teacher, Bala Jadhav from Maharashtra. What did he do? He realized he had 40 children to teach. He was an assistant teacher in a government school. He said they have feature phone. They don't have a smartphone. There's a function of feature phone that is called conference call. In one conference call, you can add 10 people. He added 10 children in call, half an hour, 4 calls, all 40 children he could teach in 2 hours. Isn't it creative?
Right.
Why didn't our policymakers think about it? Why wouldn't our education minister think about it? Why wouldn't our education secretary think about it?
Excuse me, sir.
Go ahead.
I would like to interrupt you. Like in younger generation, like we do have a smartphone in our houses. Like we are not using those phones, because in youngsters, this is a trend that after 1 year or 1.5 years, they change their phone. So the old ones remains unused. Okay, so we can donate our phones to such children, or there should be some organization who can collect phone, like you said that.
What's your name? What's your name?
I am Madhav from CSR.
Madhav, you are not too far from here. CSM CRI is not too far. GIAN will be happy to do it for you. Collect as many old smartphones as you can. If they are somehow not working, we will try to get them refurbished. But we are very keen that you don't sit on this idea. If you can solve problem even of 1 school, 2 schools, 3 schools, today's class would have served its purpose, my dear Madhav. We have to nudge our inertia, and when a solution comes to mind, test it out. How do we test it out without implementing it? Do it. You're right. I agree with you. Because that's one solution of providing smartphone to those who don't have. What Bala Jadhav did was, he didn't have so much money. So he said, all right. And the teacher did something interesting. He bought from the jewelry of his wife Bluetooth speaker. And he gave to 4 groups 4 Bluetooth speakers. So now he can teach them all, if they sit around the speaker, the children in one village, with keeping distance among themselves, then he can teach all of them at the same time. Good idea. An improvement on Bala Jadhav's idea. Still using feature phone, but with a Bluetooth speaker. What I'm saying is, these government school teachers are able to think of these solutions. Our policymakers are not able to think. Doesn't matter. Don't let the best be enemy of better. If smartphones are not available, ideally they should be available. We should collect them. But if they're not available, what shall we do? We'll try to see any function, feature, or form of existing devices, existing infrastructure that we have. Can we leverage it? We said learn, leverage, link, and legitimize. These are the 4 steps of solving the problem. And we can find out what is that which we can leverage. How can I link it with other students, other teachers? And how do I legitimize it? Legitimization is not done yet. Legitimization will be done when Government of India will recognize that there are a lot of children in this country who are outside the online education, and what are you doing for them? Why couldn't we afford to give a smartphone, or at least connect them to some phones in a community smartphones, so that they can sit around a tree and put a Bluetooth speaker to the phone and then be able to work. So there is a very important need that innovation, investment, enterprise need not be only economic, it could be social, ecological.
This is also Jugaad.
Sorry? So, go ahead, what did you say? Jugaad, I said just now, isn't necessarily, just give me 1 minute. Jugaad is not something that I would strongly urge you to pay too much reliance on it. Bala Jadhav did not do a Jugaad, he did a systematic solution. Conference call is a systematic solution. Bluetooth speaker is a systematic solution. It will solve the problem forever, at least for those who can't afford smartphones. So I'm saying that we can make shift solutions somewhere. Some people use loudspeaker, for example. Now that will work only in the villages where loudspeaker is there. Then teacher went to the place where the beaming point was, and he beamed. My question is, such a big problem. Pandemic is affecting the whole country, for that matter, the whole world. We are still relying 99% of our energy on online education. Some of you, I mean, you are so accomplished. Some of you are not able to hear me properly, unfortunately, as you said. I'm so sorry about it. But the fact is that even with resources that you have, you are finding difficulty. Look at the people who do not have internet, who do not have high bandwidth, who do not have a smartphone. What will happen to their education system? Yes, Kishan.
Very good evening, sir. I am Kishan from NBRI, Lucknow.
Yeah.
सर अभी जो माधव जी ने जो बोला था कि फोन वाला, तो सर क्या ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि ऑलमोस्ट सारे CSIR इंस्टीट्यूट के स्टूडेंट्स अभी इस मीटिंग में है, तो क्या CSIR ऐसा एक इनिशिएटिव नहीं ले सकता कि जितने इंस्टीट्यूट में है स्टूडेंट्स को एक सर्कुलेट कर दिया जाए कि जिनके पास भी अवेलेबल हो या पुराने जो भी स्मार्टफोन्स हैं वो कलेक्ट करके एक पर्टिकुलर जैसे आपके इंस्टीट्यूट में वहां सेंड कर दिया जाए, फिर वहां से वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो.
My suggestion is, Kishan and Madhav, both of you together, don't wait for permission. This is a noble act. Do you need permission from anybody to do this noble act? No.
और इसमें आपको कोई रोकने वाला भी नहीं है.
कोई रोकेगा भी नहीं. This is a noble act. And this is, you are doing it out of your own will, and your conscience is letting you to do that. Do it.
Yes, sir.
And also collect, please collect the leftover medicines. They will go waste after a while. They will become time barred, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Collect the leftover medicines. At this moment, the country needs every possible support for helping poor people in the pandemic. We need every support. We need support for children. We need support for people who don't get medicines. We need support for all kinds. So please, anything that you can spare, please do that.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And it would not impoverish you. It would not make you poorer. On the contrary, as Mother was saying, that you're not using it anymore. So it's lying waste. It's going to add to the e-waste. You have solved the problem of environment actually by contributing it for somebody's use. You are solving an environmental problem. It would go to e-waste otherwise. And then e-waste has toxic elements, as you know, and they will add to the toxicity in the soil, and they will come back to our food chain. So all of those problems you're solving in the process by making it reach somewhere who can use it. So please think about it. It's a good solution. Yes. I'll give an example of how the innovations can emerge sometime by pooling the traditional knowledge. This is a cream which we licensed to a company in Ahmedabad, a pharmaceutical company, for eczema. These were the 6 communities which had different solutions for skin diseases. from different villages. And none of the solution by itself would have been sufficiently robust. So what did we do in our lab? We have a small wet lab. So we tried to pool these solutions and convert into a product, licensed it to this company. And this company gives us every year a royalty amount that goes to the 6 communities which are invited at the time of launching of this product. It's a benefit sharing model. That knowledge of these people made it possible to develop this product go to the market then brings the revenue, however small it is, and then it is shared as a money order with all the 6 communities. SRISTI and Honeybee Network keeps nothing with it. So it is possible that the products, as Dr. Mashilkar often says, mind to market, the solutions from the local communities can go to the market and generate revenue. It is possible. We have done it, and you can do it yourself. It is possible to do that. So let us look at some solutions from children now. I said the ideas, good ideas can come from anywhere. Children and designers. So look at this. This girl was in class 8th at that time, Patna, Shalini. Many of you must be using walkers for your parents or for a grandparent, isn't it? Does any walker have adjustable leg? Anybody? Anywhere in the world? Some of you must have traveled around. No walker, including the one that my wife used to use, has adjustable legs. So what did she do? She sent us 2 lines. Sir, could the front leg be adjustable heights? Because her grandfather couldn't use the walker on the steps. So when you come down, the front leg becomes taller. When you go up, the front leg becomes short. It was licensed to several companies, including the one we saw. They have taken it to the market. They developed into a good dual-step walker. She gets a signing fee. She gets royalty. She's one of the youngest entrepreneurs. Her idea led to a product which went to the market. If a child can generate an idea which goes to the market, why wouldn't your idea go to the market? Of course it could. I'm just giving you an example that even the child can do. Now you have all seen the traffic lights. What will happen if there was a 4th light? Anybody? What function would it perform? Should we have 4th light? Blue. What will blue light do? What will it indicate? What is the signal we will get?
Maybe it might indicate that you can turn off your vehicle because time is more, maybe.
No, that you have for that you have a timer, which tells you how many seconds are left for the signal to change, isn't it? So that timer tells us. Speed. Huh? Speed. I couldn't understand. What did you say? Speed. No. See, look at this.
The 4th light could, sir, the 4th light could tell that if an ambulance is in your lane.
But ambulance has a siren, isn't it? So once the siren is there, you are supposed to leave the way and give the passage to the ambulance, isn't it? Give the right of passage.
That's right, sir. But if if it is far away, if the ambulance is still at the previous stop, and this indicator tells that there's an ambulance on this way, you can make a way prior to when it arrives.
Okay, that's a thought. That's a good thought.
But to control the air pollution. Also a difficult problem.
Huh?
Ambulance detection from far away is also a great problem for our system.
Yeah, no, I understand that they will. What she's saying is, what's the name you said? Please speak up your name, please. The one who spoke before. Huh?
I'm Vaishnavi from NCL Pune.
Actually, NCL Pune, Vaishnavi. You know what? Let me tell you the solution. Adarsh Barnwal, this fellow is from Katihar, Bihar. got an Ignite award. His idea was that if there's a traffic jam, then the blue light will tell you that if you go straight, you're going to get stuck in the traffic jam. And you may have to waste an hour or two. So either take a left turn, take a right turn, or if U-turn is permitted, take a U-turn, go from some other way. Don't get stuck in a jam. Good thought? Do you think it's a good thought?
Sir, is Google Map is not helping for it?
Well, some people will have Google Map. Many people will not have Google Map, or they will not be smart enough to see the Google Map because it requires some skill. You know, many people either don't know or don't have the skill to use this kind of tools. So for them, the light indicates from afar.
Sir, it's only traffic junction. No? We can use it on the
light is at the traffic junction. Now it's telling you that either take a left turn or a right turn as the traffic permit, but don't go straight. That's all it tells you. You have an option now of turning left, right.
But sir, if everyone sees that there is a traffic jam, everyone want to bypass the traffic jam. So then with that
good enough. It will reduce the pressure. It will reduce the pressure. The point is now look at this way. Assume for a minute that a lot of people will say, no, I don't have to. I'm not in rush. I'm going home. I rather would wait in the traffic jam than turn. That's fine. Many people do that. Otherwise, traffic jam will not be there. If everybody was wise enough to take a diversion, then the traffic jam happens because you think it's all right. It may not take too long. Let me go straight. I will rather listen to music or do something. Fine enough. The question I'm trying to make is that if this becomes a universal norm, can you imagine idea of a child can change the way traffic is managed around the world? That's possible. Look at this solution. One of my favorite. Many times the taps in the school are at a constant height, right? Haven't you seen that? You must have seen in your school time. I have seen in my school time. In Shodhyatras, we stay in this school, and we unfortunately, despite the fact that I'm father of two children, it did not occur to me that when they are small, how will they drink water? So this girl, Chaya Thakur, she was in class 7. She faced the same problem. She said, why don't you tilt the pipe? Small girls, small children will drink water from here, bigger here, bigger here, bigger here. And the problem will be solved. For 70 years in our country, this problem has been there. Everybody knows that there are smaller children and they don't reach the pipe, drinking water pipe. And we should do something for them. And we all are parents or brothers or sisters or whatever. We face this problem, our children will face this problem. Our brother, sister will face this problem. And we live with this. The difference between Chaya and us is she did not accept an inconvenience as something that she has to accept and live with. She said, no, there must be a solution. I invited her to as a visiting faculty to my class in IMA to talk to my students because I said, our students have a lot of good ideas, but they often don't implement them. She got it implemented in her school. A child of class 7. This was her solution. And she was therefore invited at IMA as a guest faculty because I wanted her to tell her story to my students, who otherwise will now become, they will join big companies and all of that. This is one more example. From Jharkhand, many solutions are coming today from Jharkhand and Bihar. Many times when you write, your concentration goes away. Some of you might have lost your concentration today. So what do? Your grip on the pen will become loose. So let's say you are holding the pen from here, writing on the paper. Your concentration goes loose, your mind wanders, and the LED light on the pen, top of the pen, lights up, illuminates, and either you yourself monitor your absence-mindedness or the teacher monitors it and says, Rudra, where are you? Come back to the class. I thought it was a great idea, sweet idea, how to improve our concentration. We can monitor ourselves when we do daydreaming or detouring. We get a feedback by our absence of control, of focus. Good idea. Again, from Tiruvarur, from Tamil Nadu, this kid sent the idea that if anybody is on the bus step, many times you have seen people falling down, children, women, one child in the lap, one way to hold the handle, and the driver doesn't wait. So if there's a visible light sensor on the steps, if anybody is standing on the step, the bus will not move. Simple idea, no accidents anymore. What I'm trying to say, our children are able to see these defects in the design of our services and our products, our system. We, the adults, sometimes fail to notice those defects. What is the problem? Anyway, any reason why we don't do that? Anybody? Let me stop here for some time and ask you, why don't we notice these problems?
So because we've learned to live with that problem.
But why do we learn to live with it?
As a problem. The issue is, so the issue is we will only find a solution when we see it as a problem. But when you've adapted yourself to live with it, you don't actually recognize it as a problem.
That is, so why, is there something in our culture? Is there something in our upbringing? Is there something in our education? Is there something in our socialization? What do you think is the reason? Why do we do that? Why other societies which progress don't do that?
Because we've been like taught to adjust.
No, we are not taught. We are not taught to adjust. We learn it by ourselves. Like if you see, when we are in the office, professor teaches me so many things. I was also his student like all of you, and now I'm teaching with him. So he will never teach you to be with a problem. It is that we pick up those things which are very convenient for us. I wanted to add here, like अभी एक हमारे chat university में बात चल रही थी, because there is a parallel university going on here. So people were saying that donation will not help, or we cannot solve everybody's problem. Yes, this is another dimension of inertia. Like we were talking, हम लोग अरे भाई हम सबका कैसे करेंगे, अरे भाई हम ये कैसे, हम जो जितना कर सकते वो हमने किया. The moment we ask this question, did we do what we could do? This will turn the table around. You know, it is very easy for us to criticize anybody. If anybody, मतलब अरे यार इसने इसको ऐसे टोपी दे दिया, अरे इसने इसको ऐसे दे दिया, they have given old clothes. But ask the people who have received them. And like there was another addition that with smartphones, we should also give them internet facilities. And I like the discussion about giving them videos so that whenever they have an internet facility, they can download the videos and those things. But see, वो पता नहीं ये meme आता था या joke आता था that the frog who was deaf reached the top, right? जिसने पीछे से किसी की भी आवाज नहीं सुना ना कि भाई ये नहीं कर सकते हो, भाई ये नहीं हो सकता है, तुम क्यों ट्राई कर रहे हो, वो कुएं में से जो छलांग मार के बाहर आ गया. So people who want to do, there will be people amongst us only who will tell you not to do. Please ignore or become deaf.
Can I make a point?
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, what I feel is we lack curiosity. I think we generally don't question कि जो हो रहा है वो ठीक है, उसको ऐसे चेंज क्यों नहीं कर सकते. और हमारे में ये डर भी है कि अगर हम कुछ चेंज करेंगे तो एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे तो हमारा मजाक उड़ाया जाएगा. तो ये क्यूरोसिटी मतलब होना बहुत ज़रूरी है ये नए इनोवेशन करने के लिए. और जो मतलब फेलियर होता है उससे बहुत लोग डर जाते हैं कि मैंने कुछ नया किया तो वो अगर उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया तो then I will be sort of ostracized. I will not be treated well. तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी है कि हमें तो फेलियर को भी हमें उसको सेलिब्रेट करना चाहिए. उसमें हमें देखना चाहिए कि फेलियर से हमने क्या सीखा, जिससे कि जिन लोगों ने कुछ भी इनोवेशन बनाया उसमें से किसी भी काम में कुछ ना कुछ नई चीज जरूर निकल के आती है. तो वो हमें उसको उभारना है, उसको आगे लेके आना है, जिससे कि और हमें लगातार क्वेश्चन करना है. वी हैव टू कीप आवर क्यूरियोसिटी अलाइव. तभी हम ये आगे इसको ले जा सकते हैं.
You're right, because what happens is, as Anamika just mentioned and as Neha was mentioning earlier,
Sir, I want to tell
yeah, please go ahead.
Another point. So what I think, there may be children have some unbiased vision, but we sometimes have a biased vision that maybe come from adjustment that we learn from the environment with age. With age, we fix our orientation of thinking. This may be a point.
You see, what happens is among the many killers of innovation, some have already come out in the discussion now. One killer is, oh, we can't help everybody, why help somebody? That's one killer, which some of you put on the
Excuse me,
chat.
sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I'm Roshni Bang from CSIR Neri, Nagpur. Sir,
Yeah.
I want to say that I feel we ignore problems just because there are so many problems to focus on one. It's difficult to focus on one, and that's why many and most of the problems are ignored.
You have a point that, there are two ways to put it. One is that I can't solve everybody's problem. I can't solve all the problems, so I don't solve any problem. All of us are limited by our resources, time, energy, and our commitments. So naturally, we can't address every problem and we can't address everybody's problem. That is true. But I can address some problem of somebody. And to that extent, I remain authentic. Authenticity is between my espoused values and my practiced values. The gap between the two is reduced. All of us are hypocrites to varying degree, some more, some less. But once in a while, I sit back and reflect on my hypocrisy quotient. How much hypocrite I am. I said to myself, I will do this, I will do that, I will do this. How much of it I did it? And then if I didn't do it, it becomes a reflection on myself that maybe I should have done something at least, if not everything that I wanted to do. So the authenticity also makes me empowered. And I start feeling empowered that I could try to do something that is possible. So what you are saying, you're right that you have tried to tell the driver of the bus to stop or to not let people fall down. Yes, we need to make this effort. But you're all scientists, you're all technologists. And naturally, you are biased in finding technological solutions, which is fair. I don't mind that. But my question is it not possible to look at those problems and discuss with others if you feel that by your own solution? Not everybody is good in ideating. Somebody is good in coming out with ideas. Somebody is good in making it happen. Somebody is good in diffusing it. We are all having different skills. All of us cannot be good in everything. So maybe somebody will come out with good ideas. Somebody will say, okay, can I make it better? Just now, one of you said, so we are not saying that we should not try to help, but we should also try to see what else should we do with the smartphone. That's a good point. You're supplementing. You're trying to make it better solution. And that's fair. I tell you what happened. In 2012, there was a student who did some mischief. So I gave him a punishment. I said, make a spreadsheet of all the subjects and all the topics of CBSE content. So he made two spreadsheets. Gaurav was his name. One where all subjects, all topic of class-wise, class 5, class 6, class 8, up to 12. And one of one subject and all topics from class 1 to 12. So class-wise and subject-wise. So if you're interested in English, this spreadsheet will give you all the topics of all the lessons in English from class 1 to 10. From 2012 to 2017, I couldn't do anything to ask people to fill up this grid and add some open source content that they can find so that when we go for Shodhyatra to villages, we can distribute this content. As one of you very rightly mentioned, should we not give them videos? So we said, why don't you collect the videos? You know what happened? In 2018, I said, I will not take you on the Shodhyatra course. I also have a course on IMA. So I said, I will not take you to the Himalayas this time if you don't give me a content for all of these cells of this spreadsheet. Can you believe it? They created a content of several hundred GB. And when we went to Meghalaya, we gave the chief secretary 1 TB hard disk full of content. We gave it to the chief secretary to distribute. There are about 6,000 schools in Meghalaya. We said, we don't have resources to distribute it to all of them. We're giving you 10 hard disks, which students paid for. Can you distribute it to all the schools so they can get good content, whatever we could put together? Next time, I was talking to some students and I said, look, we want to give it in the school itself. What should I do? They don't have computer. They don't have a laptop. How will they use this content? The one of the students said, sir, are you not aware of the OTG cable? I said, what is OTG cable? I'm not aware. I was not aware at that time. Please appreciate. The student said that OTG cable has a one side the micro USB, one side the USB. So if you have a pen drive, from pen drive, if teacher has the smartphone, he can directly transfer the content to the smartphone and show it to the children. Oh my God, that was a very quick, neat solution. I didn't know that. It's not necessary that I should always have solution to the problem that I have identified. I shared it in the class. I shared my ignorance. I shared my limitation. I shared my inadequacy in the class. I said, look, I have no solution. I'm worried now. And please guide me. What can you do? And the student, one of them came out and illuminated and solved the problem for me, which I was stuck at. If I had kept it to myself, I thought I'm a great professor of a great institution. I know all the relevant solutions. Of course, I didn't know that. So sometimes sharing the problem with those others, and we should not think that I'm making a fool of myself. There are many examples, many examples I can give you during the course when I didn't have any clue about how to solve the problem. So, and students said, yes, please.
So I feel there is a lack of collaboration. Like, I'll give you an example. There is a problem. I'm from core biology background. So, but there's one problem I identified years back, that when water is filtered through the RO filters, a lot of water is wasted.
Correct.
So since I have identified this problem and I am concerned about it, in my home, I collect that water and use it for some purpose, for watering the plants in washrooms instead of flushing. But this I do at an individual level.
Correct.
So what, and since I'm from a core biology background, I don't have a technical solution to it. So I've identified the problem, I'm concerned about it, but what can I do about it? I don't know. And I've been thinking about this for years. So can we not do collaboration? Like, okay, I tell my problem to some technical person from engineering background who can work on this. So I think we bio people have this issue.
No, not bio people. Every individual has this issue.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, somebody wants to say something?
The problem I am thinking also to do how we can rectify, and this problem is now become every home the RO system is there, and a lot of water is wasted every day.
Yes, this problem is
rectified. I also rectified, but I am not having the solution. Some people have rectified this problem to put the bucket below the pipeline.
No, but I want a permanent solution. What if the water gets recycled on its own? So that because this we do it by choice, conserving water is a choice, and ethically we do it on our part at individual level. But what if there's a permanent solution to it and water gets there's some system so that the
why
water
don't we make a group
on technical level? There is no solution for this problem, and we are solving this type of the problem.
No, wait a minute. Don't pass judgment. Don't pass judgment just now. This is a very good challenge. So we will ask somebody from NIRI, somebody from CMARI.
May I make a comment on this problem?
8 minutes. Vipin, 8 minutes. Where are you from? Vipin, where are you
from? I'm from CSS Siri.
Siri. All right. Yeah. Go ahead, Vipin.
One thing that we can do is, let's say there is an apartment, and in that apartment there are n number of houses that have installed RO in their home. So what can be done is the pipeline, the exit of the wastewater from the RO can be collected together, and it can be stored in a single tank, and that tank, that water can be sent to the top of the building, and that water will be used only for flushing. So a separate pipeline can be made where the flushing system in the washroom will be using that water.
Now, I would suggest all of you to kindly consider this as a problem where one group, interdisciplinary group from electronics, from mechanical, from biology, from wastewater treatment, which NIRI does, from CSIO. Can you make a group, and we will identify the unmet needs and make groups of students to work together. As she said, and I think that was a good point, there are washing machines which recycle the washed water and remove the phosphates and other things from that and use that water. So there are, if you go to the net and search for water saving washing machine, you will find out. Naturally, it can be done for washing machine, which has much worse water than the water of the RO, which is having the high content of salt. So you can't really use it for irrigation because plants will die after some time. But you can definitely use it for flushing and also use it for sweeping and cleaning and so on. So my suggestion is, why don't we start making a list of such problems which we have identified as problems that bother us as individuals, and then make a list and float it in the group, and people will volunteer to join these groups, and we will then, these groups can work as a group on assignments, and these assignments will be finding a solution to the problem. So the group can further subdivide into 2 or 3 parts. One group will say, okay, I will not change the design of RO, I will only find the use of the water. Somebody will say, no, I'll change the design of the RO so that this water is not wasted. And both are having legitimate way of solving problem. We don't have to argue, no, why don't you change the design itself? Okay, that person has limitation. That person wants to find application for this water, whether for flushing or, and they will do their energy calculation. They will find out how much it will cost to pump the water to the top and how much it will cost to take the pipeline. So for 1 unit of settlement, they will try to find it out and say, okay, so this will cost so much. Are people willing to pay X amount of money to make sure that this water does not go down the drain? So this is something that we can work as an assignment, and we must work on assignment of this kind. Rakesh, you would want to say something? Okay, so my suggestion is that we should try to start identifying the problems which bother us. These could be problems as simple or as complex as we just mentioned. These could also be more challenging problem. Challenging problem, for example, many of you have bio-waste in your home, but you don't have a desktop composting machine, correct? Is it true?
Yes.
So even if you don't want to waste the bio-waste of the home, vegetable peel, fruit peel, you sometimes feel compelled to sell it. If you're living in a multi-student building, you don't have a garden, then you throw it out. Varsha?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Varsha, thoda mute kar lijiye bhaiya. So do you understand what I'm saying? So this is another problem, how to make a small bio-waste plant, a desktop bio-waste plant, which can decompose the waste without producing stench, without producing smell, and convert into manure, which I can use for my potted plants, or I can share to my friends, my relatives who need that manure. And I'll be happy that I reduce the wastage, and I also enrich the life of my friends who can do that. So I would suggest that identify some problem. Third problem I can tell you, there's a company in Japan which made this. You know, when you, what is that system, pyrolysis, when you use the waste plastic and convert into 5 kinds of oil, lubricant, furnace oil, diesel, and 2 or 3 other kinds of oils. So you can convert. Rakesh, mute yourself, please. Mute yourself. So what I'm saying is that it is possible if we can. Madhav, you had a question?
Yes, sir, actually I wanted to tell you that people discussed about the RO water, the water from the RO system get wasted. So you told that we need a pump, so there will be extra cost. So I think that if we are living in an apartment and if the apartment is 5-story building, so on the 5th floor, there should be a tank. So the water from the RO should be collected on that tank, and it will be used on 4th floor. On 4th floor, in the similar way, people will use, there will be a tank, a smaller tank in which the waste RO water will be collected,
and then with
and that
gravity
will be
it can
used
be.
on third floor. And
Very
on
good
third
point.
floor, in the similar
No, you're
way,
right. You're right. It's a very sweet idea. Very sweet idea. Very cute idea. I like this idea. Madhav, this is the point. When it didn't take you too long to think of a solution of gravity-based flow rather than pump-based flow. It's a good point. Why did this idea elude you for so long? Because you didn't get disturbed by this problem enough. Today you got disturbed, so you could find a solution. My suggestion is, let us not solve the problem right away because we have limited time. But if you could kindly record this problem, it's a good thought. It's a very good thought. And there could be even better thought that many of you who are not speaking would have better thoughts. My suggestion is, let us make a list. As I was mentioning about waste plastic, each one of you is receiving online packets which have a lot of plastic in them, isn't it? What are we doing with this plastic? We are throwing it away. Yeah, Arvind, yes, go ahead, please.
So when I was a kid, not kid, but I was in 10th standard, I was really very disturbed about this waste plastic, and I was keenly interested in artworks. So I used to make art stuff with those things, and I make it still till now. I didn't have some technological recycling idea for that, but it had some loopholes, and I still want to work on it. But I had some idea that we can use this waste plastics for purposes like wedding decoration, making flowers for decoration purpose, so that it can be used and be beneficial for those
Roshni, make a group on this. Make a group on this. My mother used to do that. She would use the crochet. She will cut the plastic bags into threads. So they were different colors. And she will, with the crochet, weave a mat. And she will present it to different relatives, right? For last 30 years, she was doing that. She just passed away a few days back. So what I'm saying is, Roshni, what you're saying is meaningful. Now, don't exclude other choices. This is one choice that you mentioned, repurposing the waste. Great idea. Somebody might like to recycle it. Somebody might like to rejuvenate it. Somebody may like to reposition it. The different people will have different solutions. You make a group. Don't cancel one choice over another. One of the principles of brainstorming is we don't criticize ideas that are coming up at that time. We just make a list of all the possible directions or possible solutions that come up. Later on, we will prioritize and decide. So would you like to make a small group on that and then find out people who would like to join you about how we can make a good solution for this so that the footprint of the plastic, and nowadays even microplastic is becoming a very serious problem, which is minute particles which can go into our breathing system and then go and cause a problem in our lungs. So we should look at both microplastics and plastics and then try to find solutions. Sunil, I'm sorry, you were saying something and I didn't give you a chance. Sunil, do you want to say something, please? We have 3-4 minutes still. Sunil, Luhar, were you saying something? Okay, doesn't matter. Yeah, go ahead, Sunil.
Am I?
Yeah, your voice is not easy to understand, but try.
Actually, what we are discussing about that RO. Yeah. Hello.
Go ahead.
Actually, we are discussing about that RO water, so we can make a small garden at our laboratory and at our societies.
Sunil, the problem is that this RO water, make a pipeline and some. Sunil, the wastewater has very high salt content. So gardening is not the best use of that water. Unless you have cactus. Cactus can tolerate to some extent, but it has the ppm level, the salt level is very high in that water. You must remember, because that's what the wastewater is all about. It takes away the salt from the water and drains it. So think of how to find better solutions. We will not be able to solve it just now, but I'm suggesting to all of you that kindly make a list. Each one of you can make a list of problems that either your grandparents are facing, problem that you are facing, problem that your brothers, sisters are facing, problem that your community members are facing, problem your service providers are facing. Anybody who's facing a problem or a problem that you feel strongly about, make a list of them. Initially, let us get 428 are there at the moment. They were about 514 at one point, and some could not. The connections are bad, so some of them had to drop out maybe. I would request all of you to make list of problems. If you have a suggestion, write down. We will make a spreadsheet. We will distribute a spreadsheet today. Ashwini, is there a common mail address we can communicate with everybody who is there in the class? Is it possible?
Yes, sir, we have.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll share it with you.
Yeah, please share that. So we will share a spreadsheet for an assignment where we will look at both knowledge from the uncommon sources and the problems that we see around us. It could be a problem in the lab. There may be a wastage in the lab. For example, the media, many of you are microbiology students. What to do with the waste media? Of course, it is to be treated properly. But if you treat it with ultraviolet rays, all cultures will be dead. Can we extract something out of that waste media? I don't know. I have no idea. So look at all the problems of waste, problems of energy, problems of food, problems of whatever problem that you feel, and try to look at these, make a list of these problems. We will not prioritize just now. For us, any problem that you identify is important enough. As some of you are mentioning, biodegradable plastic itself is a solution. We have to import from France the technology for converting cornstarch into plastic. But there are many other technologies. I'm sure some of you are working on them. So please look at the solution from, in Belarus, I think they had a solution for biodegradable plastic. There were two countries, actually two entries we had. One was from Latin America, where they had one of the tubers, starch of the tuber was used to make
cassava.
Huh?
So one used cassava and
cassava, right,
and the other used cassava and some other material. So cassava was common between both.
Yeah. So we will share with you the awards, the innovations that we rewarded. We had looked at 2,500 ideas from 87 countries, and then we gave these awards. So we'll share with you those. We have access to the UNDP Innovation Accession Labs in 109 countries.
And in fact, they are also eligible to make submissions.
Sorry?
They are also eligible to make submissions.
Yeah. I'm sure they can submit their innovative ideas for this competition. So before I close, I would request that can we agree that we will all make a list of one problem at least to begin with. We can add more later on, not a problem. This is not something that we have to finish by day after tomorrow, but at least for the class that we have on 19th in Anamika, is that right? Next class?
Yes, sir, 19th.
19th we have a class. So my request is that if by 19th we start, at least we make one entry in the spreadsheet of an unmet need. I repeat, unmet need could be of anybody else in the family. Unmet need could be from the lab. Unmet need could be of an instrument that doesn't work the way you want it to work. Unmet need could be a feature missing in your smartphone. Unmet need could be a problem that your grandparents face or your parents face. Unmet need could be of disability. Unmet need could be of waste. Unmet need could be of energy. It could be any sector. You choose. But idea is to benchmark our own degree of dissatisfaction with things that are not changing enough, and then make a list. Possibly some of them might have been solved. Some of them might get solved in the process of talking to each other. Some of you are already giving suggestions. What you thought was not solvable, somebody else will find a solution. And the whole honeybee cross-pollination philosophy will start working in. So I'm very happy that we are able to sustain our presence. I didn't find much dropout today. Thank you so much to be with us. And I'm also,
just to add for the next class, because we will be talking about inertia and inertia and why do we procrastinate things. A bit of self-reflection will be helpful, and we will do a small class exercise because the class is 400 people roughly. So we will divide ourselves in
We will do
groups.
some breakout groups. Yeah, we will do some.
We will do some exercises,
Yeah.
but it will be good if we can just reflect upon your ways why you killed your ideas. Maybe some of you wanted to be entrepreneurs, some of you wanted to do some experiments here and there, but you did not pursue. So what were your reasons for killing your ideas or not going with your ideas will be helpful for the next.
Actually speaking, I tell my students also, and I'm going to tell you all, you're all murderers of your own ideas. You know, each one of you has murdered at least one good idea of yours. I say, how can it happen? If it was so simple, somebody would have done it. That's the worst argument you can make to yourself. Never ever make that argument to yourself, please. If it was so easy, somebody would have done it. No, it is. Many solutions are very easy, and we don't try them. That's why they keep on hanging on our head for such a long time. So please identify the unmet needs, which is actually the source of inertia. So we are really getting ready for the next class. But I'm telling all my friends who are saying it was a good lecture, please, goodness will lie in our converting knowledge into feeling, feeling into action. I will measure my effectiveness and Anamika's effectiveness. Both of us will measure our success by how many ideas can take off from the stage of inertia to innovation. Not necessarily complete fruition, but at least the ice is broken. At least the first step is taken. And who knows, in the coming few months, you might be able to find a good solution. So good luck to you all. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. Please take care. We have discussed many things today. We have talked about spare mobile phones. We have talked about problems of content. We have talked about problems of net. Maybe some of you are working on mesh network, and you might find a solution without internet of communicating among the students. You know how mesh network works. Some of you might be very great expert in mesh network. So think of your skills being mobilized to solve problems here and now, and be able to learn from those who do that. Thank you so much. See you at
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anamika, can you save the chat? Anamika, can you save the chat?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
I want to see your energy double next time. All the best.
Okay, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, sir.
I will try to save the chat before I go out.
Thank you, sir.
Anamika, can you save the chat, please?
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Megha, have you saved the chat, please? There is a button here. There is a button here.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Let me see. There is the.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Good night.
Good.
നീ നിർത്തിയാ നീ എപ്പോഴേ നിർത്തി ഇടയ്ക്ക് വെച്ചേ കാണാനില്ല ഞാൻ ഇടയ്ക്ക് വെച്ച് കുളിക്കാനൊക്കെ പോയി അവസാനം വന്നു
Anamika, have you saved the chat? I'm just asking.
It has an option on the bottom left of the chat, bottom right of the chat.
Bottom right of the chat. That's what
There's a file. You can see the file option. So I think from there you can save it to Google Drive, Dropbox, or whatever, whichever database you want.
Chat with on the chat bottom of the chat.
We can click Alt plus H.
Because I couldn't read many comments. I want to put them tonight. So let me see. Come to the end of the chat. Save chat. Yes, I got the chat. I got it. Thank
you so much, sir, for the session.
You all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good luck.